These two grown men had never seen The Simpsons. How the fuck's that even happen? They're two grown men on a mission now, so buckle up and just strap in.
Relax, don't do it when you want such you at. Relax, don't do it when you want to come.
These two grown men had never seen The Simpsons. It's America's Barley Basket.
Welcome, everybody, episode 41 of America's Barley Basket. It is Tuesday. I'm Marlin Wells alongside co-host Nathan Folsabach. Hello, Nathan.
Hello, Marlin.
How are ya?
I am in a casual pose, dress slacks on, shirt off, bizarre combo for a Sunday or for any day for that matter.
Yep.
I have shooty hoops in the background. We got March Madness, and I got that fucking college insanity coursing through my veins, brother. I'm not a college basketball guy until the tournament rolls around.
Yeah, and even then, I might catch a game in the background, but even then, I'm not into it.
Yeah, there's just I like the whole like win and you advance, lose and you go home, because I just like the stakes. That I like the drama. Yeah, like even though I have no clue who these players are or what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I never pay attention to college basketball any other time, so I really don't have a fucking clue who's good, who's bad. Like, this is the first year in a long time I never filled out a bracket because, like, I'm not in that position. Like, who am I going to fill out a bracket with? My cat? Like, that's fucking what I should have done, by the way.
Worldwide pandemics have really put a crimp on our bracketing.
They've really brought down the madness in our March Madness. It's a very safe and sane March.
It's more of an isolated paranoia now. What's been replaced with.
Yeah. Yep. Accurate. We have Simpsons to be talking about. We are wrapping up season 9. We got one of our nice little crossover shows here today. Wrapping up season 9, going into season 10.
Double digis.
We are, do you feel it? Do you feel that we're really churning through these Simpsons and really getting to the end of the show here?
We have a couple beautiful seasons left until we hit that gross Simpsons puberty. So we should savor these.
Yeah, let's enjoy it while we got it. Let's get into the peanut butter in this cup before we're left with just cup.
Which, we've had this discussion far too many times for grown men. I enjoy the cup more than the peanut butter.
Yeah, you're out of your fucking mind. It is the best time of the year because it is Reese's peanut butter eggs time, which is the best peanut butter cup. Like, it's a peanut butter cup without the ridge. It has a higher peanut butter to chocolate ratio.
And I want to get on the record right now. I am not an anti-peanut butter egg. I even like the Christmas tree. I love basically any Reese's product. I'm going to be all up in it.
Same here. Yeah.
But the cups, man, I think they just got the ratio right out of the get-go.
No, it's for me. It's like the Reese's egg is the Uncrustable of a peanut butter cup, because they just take that ridge off of there and just seal it up. It's
What's your take on Reese's Pieces or Reese's Pieces, however you want to pronounce it?
Honestly, I think I would prefer a peanut butter M&M, but I don't crave either very often.
See, Reese's Pieces are one of those things I forget about they exist, and then I have them. Like, God damn, that's a tasty treat.
Yeah, they're real good. I think I prefer the M&M version because there's more peanut butter in it.
Oh, see, yep, that's how we differ. I like the ratio with the Reese's Pieces. Here's one, while we're talking about bite-sized treats. You got a choice. M&Ms with peanuts or just plain old M&Ms?
Peanuts every time. It's not even close.
See, for me,
like a plain M&M with nothing in it is a fucking bargain basement tier of candy.
Oh, no kidding. So for me, it's very close. I do enjoy both a lot. I probably lean peanut, but it's catch me on the right day. A handful of plain old M&Ms really hits the spot too.
I don't think I've ever chosen to eat plain M&Ms. Like, it's always like, oh, here's a fun size one that you got at Halloween. Like, might as well. It beats throwing it in the garbage, I guess.
Yeah. When I was just last fall, or I guess I gotta forget, we have a whole year that happened that we don't really remember. The last pre-Roro fall, so like the fall of 2019, I was living in the cities and I was not doing so hot money wise. I basically just lived off my roommate's daughter's Halloween candy that she'd already tired of. So I was like 40-year-old man having a dinner that was like 8 mini bags of M&Ms with a, got to get my fiber. So I have like 3 mini Starburst packets.
Oh yeah. Well, you need the fruit. You're going to get scurvy otherwise.
Yeah, exactly. Skittles or Starburst, if you have to choose.
Skittles. Like, Starbursts are good, but I think they're a pain in the ass. Like, unwrapping all these little Starbursts.
I kind of like that aspect.
Yeah, I would rather just have a bag of Skittles and get it over with.
Just
like,
pop the top and pour it down your head.
I think I have like food shame problems where it's like I just want to get it over with. Yeah, it's like sleeping with somebody that you're not proud of sleeping with. Yeah. Like let's just fucking plow through this. I want to go home.
I want to be able to eat all these snacks in a trip through a car wash. Go in with the snacks. By the time it's done, you just throw a bag of trash in that little garbage can they always have right by the exit.
Yeah, I'm just sucking down the last of these fucking Skittles while the air dryers are going.
Yeah. How piss poor is the technology that goes into making the digital clock that lets you know how much time you have left? It's like I've never seen one that works right.
Nope.
Do I got 70 seconds left or 17 seconds left?
You're riding your brake trying to milk as much of the blow dryers as you can.
Yeah. By the time it shuts down, you're not even done with your windshield. Oh, fuck.
Not that any of it fucking matters. It doesn't get it 100% dry, so you got water spots anyway. Why are you even fucking... What are we even doing?
Yeah. Roll your window down once and it's just completely streaked. Yeah.
Yep. Fuck it.
Well, sometimes we talk about The Simpsons on this podcast.
We always get there.
We do. We try. I can't wait till we get to a day where we have a one that's Simpson-less. Like, oh shit, it's 2.5 hours in. We haven't even brought up the first episode yet.
I don't know that we have the talent to do a Simpson-less Simpsons podcast.
I wonder if we have the talent to do a Simpsons podcast.
Fair.
But here we are, 41 episodes in. Look at us now. We have
41 weeks. We've gotten no better at it.
We are fueled by the love of our Ohio fan base.
Mm-hmm. What up, Ohio?
How do our Ohio numbers do this week?
Still fucking running strong. Ohio is just pumping. Fucking, in particular, I really broke down the numbers. I really got some analytics back, and motherfucking Columbus loves them some barley basket. So
shout out to Columbus. Shout out to the Blue Jackets, the Ohio State University, any state capital employees. Hey, we love it. It's a steady line of work. The Capitol ain't shutting down. They're not downsizing the Capitol, Marlin. So good for you.
That's probably who's listening is Capitol government employees.
Yeah, just there's slow times. It's government work. I used to be employed by the government. I know what it's like.
When all this Roro is said and done, we should do a live America's Barley Basket in Columbus.
Oh my God! Please let us. Columbus, reach out to us. We'll do it. You need yard work done. We'll figure something out. We'll make it worth your while. Bring us to Columbus.
I think Columbus and Ireland are our two biggest hotspots that are outside of our neck of the woods. Yeah. So we'll go make a couple of tour stops in Columbus and Ireland. It's gonna be a real sparse back of the tour T-shirt. Yeah. Just Columbus, Dublin, and that's it. Yeah. Just 2 dates on the back.
Yeah, we tried to find an in-between gig, but no one was willing.
Yeah.
We have a couple friends or a couple listeners in Pennsylvania, but they told us to stop calling them.
We can get a direct flight to Dublin out of Columbus, so that's the tour.
But The Simpsons, we're very tail end of season 9. We're at a couple episodes left. The first that we're going to be discussing today is episode 24, Lost Our Lisa. Episode starts with Milhouse and Bart discussing parent-teacher conference day. They're both pretty happy because they're just walking the streets on a school day, but they got to be in school because it's parent-teacher conference day, which I think it's amazing the timing that we're watching this episode now, because growing up, this, the week preceding this was always our parent-teacher conference week.
Oh, really?
One of my favorite, parent-teacher conference day, because one of my favorite little joys in life as a kid that grew up in the country is that meant I got to sit at home that Friday and watch college basketball on CBS from sunup to sundown.
Oh, nice.
And it's like, they can't take that away from me. I mean, I guess Mom could. if she wanted to. She'd go, TV, we're selling the TV, and I'd be powerless to stop her. But
we picked today. Yep. She unplugs it.
Yep. So yeah, I always loved that this week, because that meant, and I just loved a day off of school that wasn't attached to a holiday. So there's just like,
it felt like you were getting away with something.
And that's a good way to. You felt like you were stealing something, which So,
I feel like a roundabout now was always spring break, which was like a 3 or 4 day weekend for us.
Mm-hmm. So we didn't have Are you old enough to remember? Did you get Easter off from school? Did they call it a Good Friday? Or
I feel
had it changed to midwinter break or something? I know they have to give it a non-Christian name now, I think.
I feel like when I was in elementary and high school, and I might be misremembering, but I feel like they treated Easter Monday as a snow day, where if we didn't have to make up a day, you would get Easter Monday off. And I could be wrong, but that's how I seem to remember it. Because there was days then where it's like, there were years when you would have Easter Monday school, and some years when you wouldn't.
Oh, okay, yeah. I always remember having the Friday and the Monday off, And then
not us. I think it was just the Monday.
And then there's always sweet parent. Was there a parent-teacher conference each semester too? Was there a fall? There might have been one in the fall too. I bet there was. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. I don't remember. Being not involved in that, I don't really remember. Our parent-teacher conferences were in the evening, so you didn't get a day off of school for parent-teacher conference.
No shit. Oh, really? Oh, yeah. We certainly did. Yeah.
The way our school worked, where it was a closed campus with no study halls, so you took 8 classes a day, always, all the time, no matter what.
Okay.
And took so few days off during the year, you would think they'd have been pumping out fucking geniuses. But no, they pumped out people like me. And I was one of the brighter kids.
I don't know if it's ever came up. You didn't have any study halls?
No, we didn't have any free periods when I was in high school. So you had by the time I finished my sophomore year, we all had enough credits, more than enough credits to graduate, except we didn't have the one math and one English class that only the juniors could take and only the seniors could take. So, by the time I was a senior, they were making up classes for us. I took advanced computers, which is not a real class, and it was just we spent one half of the year kind of learning how to work Microsoft Word, and the other half of the year kind of learning how to work Microsoft Excel.
No, I didn't. Yeah. So, was it ever explained why there wasn't a study hall?
No, I think they figured we didn't need one.
That's baffling, because that's a way for a school to just save money. Just herd them all into a room, have one low-paying, someone without a teaching degree just kind of be their handler for the next 50 minutes. And
oh, please, nobody where I went to school had a fucking teaching degree.
Oh, no shit, that's awesome.
I took chemistry from someone who didn't go to college.
I think I gotta tip my hat to the Botano School. I'm pretty sure almost everyone went to college.
My last couple years of high school, the math teacher was just an old lady from our town. I don't know what she did. I think she used to be an accountant. By the time we got to high school, she was 1,000. So I don't...
So great. Yeah. We had a couple things like that. I remember, I think it was in the 8th grade. It was like the last year before they realized I shouldn't be in advanced math classes. Just for laughs, they had a science teacher try to teach math, and it ended up with predictable results. They had no clue what they were doing.
This is shop class, so I feel like this is like a little more understandable. But our like agriculture and shop teacher my last year of high school was a rodeo clown on the weekends.
Yes.
And that's, that was totally acceptable. Yeah, he could teach children. That's fine.
Yeah, you're right. Like shop classes, I think they play a little fast and loose with the teaching certificates. Yeah.
Yeah. He wasn't molding anyone. He was just making sure you didn't set yourself on fire.
Oh man, like I can't imagine what my schedule would have been if you take out study halls. And I took so many. We called it studio art, which thank God our angel of an art teacher, Mrs. Volk. Basically, studio art was just study hall in the art room. I mean, she'd stop in every month or so and see if you were working on anything, like how you kids doing back here? There's like a back area for us. And like, if you could show that you cranked out some art, you got an A. Like, I think my graduate, I think my GPA was like 2.2, and that was buoyed by several studio art A's. So looking back, I did piss poor in high school.
Yeah, we didn't have study halls or art classes the entire time I was there. And by the time I was a senior, we didn't have music classes. So like you didn't have free time. You fucking took classes.
That's wild, man. Like how did they keep you guys going? Like I can picture the mutiny that would happen if they took away those things. Like
and there were only like 2 periods of the day where you chose what class you were going to take. And it was down between like, hey, do you want to do home ec or shop? And that's it. That's your whole fucking... Wild. So when, like, I think we've like briefly brought up before the idea of like, oh, I'm going to take this class because my buddy's in it. You took that class because you all were taking that class and didn't have a choice.
And wasn't it too that you couldn't leave during your lunch period?
Oh, yeah. Closed campus. You don't fucking... They didn't bar the doors, but they could have.
Like, so when you were like a senior, you couldn't go eat lunch at Senex or something like that? Like...
No. God,
fuck,
no.
Fuck, that's amazing. Like, but I think about, like, with a school that small, they would just notice if you were gone, probably. Like,
Oh, for sure.
Even at my school, there's, I don't know, a couple hundred kids in high school, so they got to keep an eye on all of like... Well, so kids didn't get high during lunchtime? Like, or do they just get high in the school? Like, I don't get that. Like,
I think there was only like 2 people in our entire town, or maybe 4 in the whole county, who knew what marijuana was. So
and they were deathly afraid of it.
Right, exactly. And the whole rest of the county thought they were the devil. So while we all had our 12-year-old drinking problems. So like, I don't think anybody was getting high in the school.
Yeah. Yes, I was complaining about the stoners while a bunch of teenagers go get drunk in a camper parked outside the school during their lunch period.
Yeah, while somebody's taking fucking nips of cherry UV that they hid in the welding booth that they're in.
Oh, good times.
And the worst repercussions you're going to face of that is the rodeo clown shop teacher's going to call you a pussy for drinking cherry liqueur.
Exactly. Yeah. Don't they make Phillips plain anymore? Church it up with this flavor nonsense.
What, were they all out of Seagram's, huh?
Holy shit. Seagram's is a divorce shop teacher drink. Just drinking a glass of neat Seagram's. Just pouring it like you'd pour a glass of milk right to the brim. Just sit down in front of the TV. Maybe you turn it on. Either way, you're going to polish off that glass of Seagram's.
Taking big old gulps out of that glass. Yep.
It's good Seagram's.
Oh, shit.
So Barton Millhouse.
The pure hour count of schooling we had, we should all be fucking brilliant.
That's baffling to me. I can't believe there was. But I guess...
And crippling small class sizes.
Yeah.
Like, the teacher-to-student ratio should have been pumping out Einsteins.
Yeah, I guess if you start off like that, you don't realize there's another option. So it's, this is just what school is. Like, they must have had to, like... send kids to re-education camps when they first, because I'm sure at one time the school was normal when it was bigger, maybe, I don't know, like,
who knows?
Yeah.
Wasn't the case when I was there, but you would see stuff on TV like, oh, which class are you gonna take? And I'm sitting at home like, fucking what? You're going to take the ones that are on the sheet of paper they give you at the beginning of the year.
Or talking like kids in big cities and like, which foreign language are you going to study? Like looking back, like we should have been thankful we had a Spanish teacher, because that's something that like I'm sure you would have had to drive 250 miles to learn.
Oh, absolutely. Like I would have had to driven across the entire fucking state to see someone of Hispanic descent.
Yeah. Oh, the lady that taught ours was not Spanish. She was a very nice mom that I remember cried a lot because the kids were very mean. That's all I remember is walking by that classroom and hearing either abject fucking pandemonium or just awkward silence as she sobs and like asks the kids to please be nice.
Oh, gee. Yeah. You guys were fucking animals.
Yeah. See, like, they should have just shipped us all away and started fresh, like in the year 2000. Okay, clean slate, no more study halls, no more naughty kids.
That 1,000-year-old fucking math teacher we had that I mentioned earlier was like. She was like a shark. She had to always be moving or else she'd fucking fall asleep. Every lyceum we ever had, she'd be fucking sawing logs down in the front row of the gymnasium.
We had a teacher fill in, a very elderly woman. I think one of the other teachers got pregnant and she filled in. She was always a sub, but she was there for like 2 months. And she walked by. It's like all the normal kids were in band. So it was all of us dirt kids that were just milling around waiting for lunchtime is what we did. And I remember she was eating some crackers she had carefully wrapped in tin foil. Like she was getting shipped off to war. She had some hard back. And she's eating the crackers and she started choking on them. And when she started coughing, it sounded like her entire torso was just full of broken glass. It's like, yeah. Which also around the same time we found out she smoked filterless Camel cigarettes. It's like this woman is gonna live maybe for the rest of the day tops, and she's in charge of teaching us math.
Yeah, that same with that math teacher of ours. Like she was like twice a period run out and gun a stick real quick. Her classroom was the closest to the door, so she could like hop out real quick and fucking. And now that I think about it, prop the door open with a rock. They did lock the doors. Now that I'm thinking about it, so you could get out but not in. That memory just slammed into me. Yeah, she'd throw a fucking rock in the door and go gun a stick real quick, and then jump back in to see if we'd finished up yet.
Yeah, so they just decide to go have lunch somewhere else. Fucking go leave and start something on fire and come back. Like, you were kind of up to your own devices for 35 minutes every day. We needed that. So they needed to just get out of the school.
Not us. It was fucking San Quentin where I was.
I remember hearing from my older cousin who had a super old lady as a homeroom teacher. Like, it was like her last year in school. The last day of class, she all of a sudden in the afternoon gets super serious and starts handing out like this 10-page math test that was just impossibly hard. And she says, like, this is the final test of the year. I wanted to spring it on you because I wanted you to see what you remembered from this class. And this is 60% of your grade. And, you know what happened? If you bomb this, there's a pretty good chance you're going to take this class over again. Out of nowhere. So these kids are like, what the fuck? So it's like an hour and a half, 2 hour long test, last day of school. And they're sit there in silence. And she is just, anyone makes any noise, she's cracking down on them. And so, okay, 2 hours is up. And like some of the kids weren't able to finish because they didn't even know how to do the questions. She's like, okay, I want you to hand it to the kid in front of you and you're going to correct each other's. I'm going to go through the answers. She goes through all the answers. She's like, okay, give it back. Everyone fucking failed. They're like, holy shit. What am I going to do? I got to take the 6th grade over. Like, and she's okay. Do you have your own tests back? She's like, okay, we do. Like, okay, everybody, rip up your tests. Have a good summer. And then she just started cackling at them with this deep, heavy smoker's cough laugh. Like, you can go home now. Everyone's disorientated walking out of the school. It's like, that is pretty baller, but that's also insanity to go through that level of work to just torment children. But
knowing how you fucking kids were, you probably had it coming.
Oh, God, yeah. I bet it was like by mid-October, she's just already looking forward to May. Like, I'm going to fuck with these idiots so hard. She has a cupcake stuck to the side of her head that someone threw at her. Big fast bitch. Oh. I think that was a janitor. There's no respect in this school. Okay, that was a 50-minute detour.
So it's teacher conference day in Springfield.
Bart and Milhouse out enjoying a beautiful day, and they stumble into a novelty shop, which, oh man, 10-year-old me would have been so fucking psyched. To tell you what, yep. 10-year-old me, hell, 40-year-old me loves it, but 10-year-old me really loved the Spencer's gifts.
Oh, I'll bet.
Oh,
yeah. How many fake vomits have you bought in your life?
I couldn't afford the outrageous prices of Spencer's, but I did order plenty of fake vomit and onion-flavored gum out of the back of comic books and Boys Life magazines from our friends at the Johnson Smith Company, who were America's volume leader in novelties. I don't know did you ever get a Johnson Smith catalog when you were a kid?
Oh, hell no. I don't know what that is.
God, brother. And the cover would always say, things you didn't know existed, ... and possibly couldn't live without. And boy, they were right. It was the most... The best
was talking right to you.
Oh, were they? And it was this awesome combination. It was like 99-cent little trinkets, like the shit I was talking about. Fake dog do fake vomit, but then also like a fucking life-size Michael Jackson bodysuit, so you can impersonate for $1,700. It's the mutant that's buying this. Like, yeah, oh my God, I legit they have to be closed by now, but God, I'd love to look through one of those for old time's sake. It was the best combination of shit, man. Like, and back then, getting a catalog seemed like a treat. Like, oh boy, a catalog.
A catalog.
I legit would save them. I could reread them.
Yeah, I remember being excited at like the Funko Land catalog that sold NES games that would come every 3 months.
Holy, I forgot about them. Yeah, you're totally right. Like,
and that wasn't exciting to read. There were no pictures at all. It was just a list of video games in alphabetical order.
And getting back to Spencer's, I like the combination of shit in there was always so great too. Like, yeah, it was like, here's the little area we have dedicated to fake vomit. And then here is a $1,900 crystal skull. It's like, who's your target audience? Who's going to buy that? Like, and then the blacklight shit, and then like all the sexy, naughty, like now they have legit dildos and shit. I was in Spencer's for the first time in 20 years, just last year, I think. And there is a lot of sex toys in there now.
Yeah, did you find yourself something? You pick up something good?
Got this vibrating underpants. Got a little meat eater motor hooked to them. Had to mix gas in the car. Go in line to get my steak at Bonanza. I'm just vibrating. Who's running rich? Get these carbs jetted. Carbs implying it's got 2 carbs. I got high-end vibrating. I took this out of a race and go-kart.
Really rolling coal on my butthole.
I was almost going to file a complaint with the disinterested 15-year-old goth girl working there because right now I was like, did they completely remove the novelty section? They had, but it is very threadbare. Like if you're looking for old fart spray, you don't have a whole lot of choices anymore. There's like 2 cans.
I feel like the last time I was in a Spencer's, which was probably 20 fucking years ago at this point, like I feel like there was an overabundance of like stuff you would get for someone's 40th birthday party.
That
like,
sounds right. Yep.
Over the hill birthday cards and balloons with the Grim Reaper on it, you know, shit like that. And then, like some blacklight posters and fuzzy handcuffs.
Yep.
And here's some itching powder and a couple of stink bombs.
Yep.
And then a lot of just like glassware, a lot of like, hey, do you want some insane clown potsy shot glasses? I'm 15. You're fucking right, I do.
Yeah, that's a very good point. A lot of glassware. And back in the day, I don't know now, like they used to just have like a lot of like rock band posters. Like a lot of the posters I had hanging up in my room were from Spencer's.
Yeah, I feel like when I was there were a few music ones, but mostly like, here's a tiny wizard smoking a pipe sitting on a mushroom, and it's like, I was 15, I didn't know what that meant, you know? I just thought it was neat.
Yeah. I love the pricing structure. I am looking at a framed Pantera concert poster that I bought at a Spencer's Gifts 24 years ago. It's still got it to this day. And I would look at that every time I go to the Spencer's in mine out in North Dakota, like, God damn it, I'd love to buy that, but I cannot afford to spend $20 on a poster. I was making $4 an hour at my job. I couldn't justify it. And one day, it literally was there for 18 months probably. One day I go in, it has dropped down to $1.99.
Woof.
Yeah, from 19, it's like, hey guys, if you would have put it at $10 to begin with, I would have bought it. You would have made plenty of money. It's a piece of paper.
Yeah.
I always think back to that. Like, why would you? Who's making these decisions? Well, you know what they are. Spencer's is a place for idiots to make impulse purchases.
Exactly.
There's plenty of people that would have bought that for $200. Fuck yeah, that's cool. Buy it.
Yeah, there's no store that is like less essential than a Spencer's Gifts. Like a Spencer's is the opposite of a grocery store.
I'm picturing at the beginning of the pandemic, fucking Spencer's Gifts employees getting called in. Well, technically we sell edible underpants, so we're considered a grocery store. So we're gonna need you to come in, Alyssa.
Yeah, get your face shield on, Alyssa,
and your fucking choker necklace and your disinterested look. Gonna need you to pull a shift on a Saturday.
Because we never know if anybody. What if someone needs Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle shot glasses today? You know, that's probably the last thing I ever bought in a Spencer's. Was I was probably in college and bought like the matching set of 4 Ninja Turtle shot glasses, and then they went through the dishwasher once and they came out blank.
Fuck yeah. That's so
the
great.
Sticker comes right off.
Yeah. Man, that's something everyone reaches at a certain age, probably in their late 20s, early 30s. After you move, it's like, do I need to load up 47 shot glasses? I don't think I need to keep these anymore.
I don't have that many friends.
Yeah. The last time I moved, I literally had a grocery bag full of shot glasses I left in a fucking like Free Will box in a fucking bookstore. Here you go.
Yeah, I've got probably a dozen, and I don't ever need another one.
I cannot think of the last time I poured a shot.
No, because I'm an adult. I drink out of the bottle like an adult.
Why do I need to dirty a glass?
Yeah. Boy, but why dirty a glass has become my mantra overarching through my entire life.
So you're eating spaghetti on a piece of fucking cardboard. Why dirty a plate? Then you bend the cardboard into a tube. Why dirty a fork and pour it down your head?
Yep. As I'm just eating cold SpaghettiOs out of the can with my tongue.
If I just let this dry, I could just rub it off. I don't even need to shower. Just flakes off.
Oh, God.
Every day at 4 p.m., you go on your balcony and rub spaghetti off your body. Good as new.
Why dirty a glass is my, thug life belly rocker tattoo.
So The Simpsons. Bart ends up buying some things at the novelty store. I think it's a toucan nose and a fake faucet. He wants to glue all these things to his head. Also big fake teeth. But obviously,
and Frankenstein neck bolts.
Mm-hmm, yep. And one thing is, I will let you know a little industry secret about novelties. They're the lowest of the low quality. Yeah,
absolutely.
Just like nothing works. Nothing works.
Fall apart immediately.
When I got a Joy Buzzer, I thought I was going to be bringing kids to their knees. It's just an uncomfortable, not even, it's just like a buzz. It's like, okay, that's something. Why are you shaking my hand? You're fucking 7. This is all weird right now. Quit touching me.
It doesn't shock, it just vibrates, you know?
Yep, exactly.
Maybe it's one of those, they used to be cool and then they nerfed them for kids our age, you know? Maybe a hand buzzer in 1970 would kill you. Who knows?
You have like a battery and a 9-volt attached to your belt.
Come over here and shake my hand. I can't get that far away from this car battery.
Yeah. Oh, good God, it's raining. I have to get indoors. So Bart is very upset that his novelty stuff isn't going to stay on his face. So he ends up talking to Homer, who gives him some super glue, which attaches to his face, which he is very happy with until he realizes, oh, fuck, this is on here for good. Marge, certainly not impressed, has to take him to the emergency room, which kind of ruins Lisa's plans because she wanted to go to the Springfield Museum to see the ISIS exhibit on its last day.
Yeah,
so,
the Egyptian ISIS, not the current ISIS.
Or like the drone rock band ISIS. There's a few ISIS out there. Holy shit, that'd have been a whole different episode.
That was my first thought when I was watching this episode. Like, boy, that's a word that has gone through some shit in its day.
So Marge had to give up on her plans of bringing Lisa, and Lisa's bummed. Again, Bart's shenanigans ruin another day for Lisa, and she's pissed. She's like, hey, I'm going to take the goddamn bus into the town, even though Mom said not to. And of course, takes advantage of Homer, which that's a classic parent, pit one parent against the other. But, in the Simpson world, it doesn't matter because Homer's a fucking dope.
Yeah, not only to play one parent against the other, but then also she plays Homer against himself. Well, I mean, I could take a limousine, but that's $200, and he freaks out, and she's like, so I guess I'll have to take the bus. It's the most obvious shit, but Homer's a dope, so
I always found it fascinating how it plays out in different families, like what you ask what parent for. Like at my house, even though my dad was the hard ass, he was the disciplinarian, he's the one you asked for more shit. Like, if I needed, money for school or anything, I'd ask. Because first of all, my mom literally never had $1 of cash on her. She had a purse with a checkbook and some miscellaneous fucking certs. There was never any actual cash in it.
Pocket tissues.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, or parts of a G.I. Joe.
A bag of Cheerios that's been in there for 14 years since you were a toddler.
A Ziploc bag full of Cheerios, yeah. And also, I would ask my dad if I wanted to spend the night at someone's house, because dads don't think about the ramifications. Like, hey, kids out of the house, sure, why not? But my mom's like, well, you stayed there last weekend. It's not really fair that your friend's mother has to put up with your loudness for 2 weekends in a row. But my dad's like, out of sight, out of mind. I always went to him for things like that.
Man, I don't think I ever went to my dad for anything. If I needed something or that kind of thing, like having a sleepover. I mean, really, we only had sleepovers for birthdays, because you relied on the school bus to get you to and from everyone's place. So, I'm going to go crash over at so-and-so's tonight wasn't a thing.
Oh, no shit. Yeah, that was probably around second grade, so fairly young. I was either staying at my buddy Damien's house or he was staying at my house. Shout out Damien if you're listening. Or cousins. I'd go stay at my cousin's house on the weekends, or I'd stay at my grandma's house. I was a traveling boy.
Not me. And I certainly never went to Dad for anything, because I think if it were up to him, I would be locked in the root cellar with the pickles and salsa that Mom made.
Which, it's nice and cool down there, but after a while,
it's an alarming amount of spiders.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I think that much like the rest of the farm machinery, I was just an implement, and he could have just parked me outside with the rest of the. First off, we didn't have no fucking Quonset. That's a little too fancy for how our farm was operating.
I guess I refer to any dilapidated farm building that's round as a Quonset. It doesn't say the Quonsets we were around, they were not fancy.
I wasn't even thinking of that. I was just thinking of outbuildings, which we also didn't have. So
everything's just out in the sun.
Yeah, all of our equipment lived outside. Yeah. So, but I think if I could have just been parked right alongside the feed grinder and the swather at the end of the day, that's how he would have preferred it. So
I can't complain that way. I was always at someone's house getting into something. Going to Grandma lived in town. Oh, Grandma's was the best. She had cable. Oh, she had snacks. The foot baths, which have been mentioned. A lot of foot baths. Rummage sales. Oh, my God. Saturday's rummage sales. Man, I'm getting nostalgic. Sky, shout out to Grandma. That was meant to be sincere.
Sky shout out. Perfect.
So The Simpsons. we are really stretching the...
It's a real crooked road we're driving here, boyo.
So Lisa's like, fuck this, I'm gonna take the bus. And she you and I, again, growing up where we have we're both adults. I've still never really had to dabble into public transit very much.
No, neither have I. I've never been on, other than the occasional charter bus that you took on a school trip, outside of that, never been on a bus.
Yeah.
A public transportation bus.
It just seems like the learning curve is impossible. It's I don't know what bus to get on. When do you get off? How much does it cost? What is it? There's no information kiosk at the bus stop. Who gives you this information? I don't understand any of it, but...
Yeah, if if someone put a gun to my head right now and said tomorrow I have to take a bus somewhere, I'd be up for another 5 hours tonight Googling how the fuck it even works.
Yeah, how does any of this work? Yeah, but Lisa finds out it's kind of complicated too, because she is thinks she's excited to go see downtown, go to the Springfield Museum, but she ends up getting just dropped out in the middle of nowhere. She's out in the vast wasteland that is rural Springfield.
Yeah, just a desert.
Yeah. So she's very lost, and all sorts of people she runs into, none of them can help her. We get Cletus, the slack-jawed yokel, who is collecting roadkill for his daughter's wedding, I believe.
Yep, wedding feast.
Yeah. So she's lost, and then she ends up getting back in town. She gets into Little Russia, which... Again, Springfield has whatever you need it to have to.
Yep, absolutely.
To make an episode work.
I like that she approaches the one Russian fella about trying to get to the museum, and they take a crack at the English or the Russian language, where he politely tells her, "Oh, certainly, it's 6 blocks that way," but it's Russian, so it sounds angry.
Yeah, she runs the opposite way.
Yeah, I usually see that joke pointed at Germans, but we took a swipe at Russia this time.
And any Northern European will do. I guess Scandinavian's more sing-songy. It's not very threatening. Jorgen, 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 Dorgen. Who can worry about that? How confused were English people, like the first English settlers, when Vikings came off of those boats with giant axes and bloodlust in their eyes while singing that dopey-ass language to each other as they literally drink someone's blood
out of someone else's skull.
Like binga bonga boonga bonga. which translates to slay all the children.
Oh God,
that's probably how they succeeded. Who would have thought that would lead to such carnage?
Your language has too many soft J's for you guys to be so angry.
It's all Y's and J's.
God dang it. There's too many umlauts.
Yeah. Earlier in this episode, Marge is loading film into her camera, and she accidentally loses the Carlsbad Cavern trip. Are you old enough to have ever owned a film camera?
Oh yeah, for sure. I actually got I was like pretty decently big into photography in high school.
Shutterbug.
Yeah, so I had like a nice camera that you loaded film in and got developed. I never took that next step of developing it yourself, having your own dark room and stuff.
That's you're really committing then.
Yeah, but I definitely, like, as soon as she popped open the back of the camera and the exposed film is in there, I immediately was like, well, that's gone. That's ruined.
Yeah. So are you old enough then do you remember when there's like, you go to a party and there'd just be 1 or 2 disposable cameras that people would buy? Yeah, like
parties and weddings, like that was a big thing there for a while, to just have disposable cameras on tables at a wedding reception. So I lived through all that. I just remember a big part of my early 20s was being hung over at a Walmart with a buddy who's picking up film from a party from like the weekend before. And you'd have like 30 shots on a disposable camera, like 17 of them wouldn't get developed because they're just some dude's nutsack. Yeah, they refuse to develop dirty photos.
Have at least 5 good friends. If they saw a disposable camera, they just put it right down the front of their pants and took a ton of pictures. That was a real popular thing to do. Every once in a while, you'd get some fucking No Limit soldier working at Walmart that develop all of them. So you just, that's a lot of bag. just a lot of poorly lit bag, or sometimes shockingly vividly lit bag by some auteur who would go into a bathroom and turn all the lights on and just painstakingly shoot one nut.
Bring a friend and have him frame it properly. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to hold my sack up with this guy's toothbrush. You're going to take real close pictures of it.
No, not from that angle. Get the light. Get the light in there.
I think back to how many times I'd have parties in our apartment and leave my toothbrush out. Like, I know that was in someone's ass crack. Some of my friends are such degenerates.
God, even as you got older, you guys were pieces of shit to each other.
Easily into our mid-20s. Late 20s. Now.
We all came up like ball busting. Like, me and my buddies will like say things that ought to make someone cry to each other, but like I would never go to a friend's place and put his toothbrush in my ass. See, not at any point in my life.
Oh yeah, I might have put that wrong. That wouldn't have been a friend doing that. That would have just been an acquaintance. Like
a second degree.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because I have buddies that if they were at someone's house and they didn't know them well and they were taking a leak, they'd be, haha, put that toothbrush down my ass crack while I piss and then put it back when I'm done. Like, why?
Jesus
I don't
Christ.
know. Like, the same people, like,
Animals.
Hey, these people were nice enough to have a party. Let's ruin everything they care about so they never want to have a party again. Like, I could never wrap my head around that style of that train of thought. Like, what are we doing this for? Like, why are we burning picture albums? Like, there's firewood right there.
Oh, God.
Serve these people right for being hospitable.
Yeah, that'll show them.
Yeah, show them all.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you want us to all gather and have a good time? Here's say goodbye to all the photos of me, Ma. Like, Jesus, animals.
Let's burn these passports. Yeah. So Lisa's lost. And Homer catches wind, and he realizes that he's the reason Lisa's lost. And he goes on the hunt for her, ends up getting like a cherry picker from what I assume is the power company, and he discovers Lisa in the crowd. But then the cherry picker truck ends up rolling down. We get a pretty good visual gag of him knocking out the pier with his head.
Yeah, that was good.
And then the bridge, the collapsible bridge, closing on his head was good too.
And then cars going over it and hitting the bump on the top of his head that's sticking out.
And what I found to be a fairly not super funny episode, one of my favorite things was Lisa, when they're walking home, was like, hey, do you want to like go to the hospital or something? It's like a bridge closed on your head. I got a kick out of that. Oh, that's, and also,
I'll walk it off.
Yep. Yeah. I think that's his exact words. Yeah. And that wasn't the end of the episode. The end of the episode was very wholesome, where Homer convinces Lisa she's got to take risks. So they break into the Springfield Museum, where Homer's klutziness ends up knocking over this sphere of Isis, which turns out to be a music box. They're like the only ones I've ever seen it in operation, which very wholesome episode. We had some good Homer dadding in this one, and some poor Homer dadding, but
those two always go hand in hand. Like, I feel like every Homer's a good dad episode starts with Homer's a bad dad.
Usually he's fixing a mistake he made.
Yeah, but he usually comes around by the end of it. So, and I like Homer and Lisa episodes. I think the two of them are super fucking wholesome. So, I liked that one.
So despite not being that funny, I would put that in I like that episode. Yeah.
There was a couple of things in that episode. We get another example of seeing the Simpsons episode that the meme comes from, because the bus driver doing "Don't make me tap the sign" is a meme I've seen, where then people put on the sign whatever the point of whatever the joke of the meme is. And then there's that scene at Homer's work where he and Carl and Lenny are sitting there eating lunch, and Carl's wearing a giant pyramid on his head, and there's just silence at the table, and Carl goes, so aren't you gonna ask me about my hat? And there's something about him just coming out and saying it, like, this is clearly out of the ordinary, why aren't you guys talking about this? Fuck, I love that joke. Aren't you guys gonna ask me about my hat? Oh, fuck.
Yeah. A wholesome, enjoyable enough episode.
Yeah, I was good with that one. Much like the next episode, which I was also pretty in the middle. Like, I would say overall positive, but pretty in the middle. The season 9 finale is Natural Born Kissers.
I also like the Frank Grimes reference right off the bat, too.
Yeah, which I had completely forgotten about that. I love that. So they're Homer and Marge are getting dolled up to go out for their anniversary, and Homer, clearly the last time he wore the suit was at Frank Grimes' funeral, because he pulls out the program from the funeral and is like, oh, whatever happened to that guy? Which I thought was a hilarious joke. You're holding the program from his funeral. You know what happened to that guy.
Sometimes Homer's dim-wittedness just leads to comedy gold.
Yeah, just the stupidest question. They're waiting on Grandpa. Abe is supposed to be babysitting the kids while they go out for their anniversary, but Abe is at the Flanders house, and he's old and confused and thinks that Rod and Todd are Bart and Lisa.
A part of childhood I didn't get to experience, I'm almost certain you probably didn't unless it was with cousins, is hitting a sibling with a chunk of a Hot Wheels track. Because I've had friends that had them. I never had a Hot Wheels track, but I was always told they got turned into weapons. Because something broke immediately, as I can totally picture. Or it was something your mom paddled you with, too.
So I had Hot Wheels track, but was an only child, so Hot Wheels track was never a weapon for me. But I would often, so my bedroom was upstairs, so I had a long straight stairway with a little landing at the top, and then so I would build Hot Wheel track all the way down the stairs, and then at the bottom of the stairs put the loop-de-loop, and then the jump, the ramp, and send cars flying out into the entryway. So I got a lot of good use out of that yellow plastic Hot Wheels track.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, picturing like 4-year-old you clapping excitedly, and then like a fade into like 17-year-old you clapping excitedly with the same
clapping excited. Yep.
Same outfit, just a larger size.
Nope, same outfit. Period.
Same hat, at least. Just a tiny little hat, barely balancing on your head. Clapping and looking around to see if anyone else saw it.
After every single car, Just zing, yay!
Yeah.
Clapping with the fingers spread apart.
Say good job, Mom. Good job.
Mom, come look how far this one went. Mom! Parents are in the living room just like, jeez.
Yeah, why?
Don't know where we went wrong. Hey, most of your classmates are having sex, right? You're not. You're 17.
I'm not saying you should, but maybe
I'm
at
saying
least
you could.
It doesn't seem like you're even trying. Be kind of nice if you tried, maybe.
And then all they hear is zing, yay! Clap, 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 clap.
And the crack of another Mountain Dew can. Glug, 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 glug. I can't track. That was 3.5 minutes between Mountain Dew openings. Yay! Just heavy tromping feet as you go to the fridge for another Mountain Dew. He growls if I don't buy more. Just a low rumble as you open the fridge and see it's dewless. He just drinks heavy cream until I get more dews.
Oh, Christ.
Speaking of
that Hot Wheels track.
Speaking of opening fridges, there's something in this episode that I think, does this fall under the only happens on TV or movies? Is married couples saving the wedding cake for years afterwards.
I think that's only on television. I don't know for sure. I think traditionally it's supposed to be you eat it on your 1-year anniversary, if I'm not mistaken. Because I've heard of this in real life, but never like bore witness. I've never opened someone's freezer and seen wedding cake.
Or like people having their wedding dresses years after the fact.
I know friends who used to have their wedding dresses.
Oh, interesting.
Still,
really? Okay. Like, when you grow up in a trailer house, because there's only a finite amount of places to hide and seek in a trailer house. So I'm intimately aware of the clothing in my parents' closet. I would have noticed a wedding dress.
I thought you were going to say I've been in the chest freezer and not seen wedding cake.
Holy shit, as much as I like sweets, if there was a wedding cake slice, best believe I would have ate it.
Christ, he ate the plastic people on top and everything.
I don't see any of the tinfoil leaf. I think he ate it all.
Oh,
Mom, the metal cake makes my teeth hurt.
What's he even talking about? God damn it. Our poor, just exacerbated parents.
Yeah.
Just what now? What?
Try be a normal boy.
Holy shit. So they end up not being able to go to their fancy dinner at the Gilded Truffle, which is an amazing name for a fancy restaurant, because they end up having to take the kids with them, and the kids take them to Up and Buffet, I believe was the name of the... It's just an airplane that they've turned into a restaurant, which I can't imagine someplace I'd want to go less.
Yeah, no shit.
But they, so that's where they have their anniversary dinner, and then they're at home just like kind of lamenting that their night was ruined. And then they look to get a little spicy, and that doesn't happen at all. And I noted, like, oh, this, like, one of the things you in particular, but both of us celebrated early on in this show was how spicy the Simpsons were. Mm-hmm. Like, that they were a couple, like a long married couple that still had a good sex life, but it is fizzled hard in this episode.
It's like, it's hard to... We're just used to the Simpsons wanting to slam, and like, you don't... I don't want to picture a Simpsons that's slamless.
And they pull the covers up so they're both under the covers and just like this writhing, moving lump under there. And there's a lot of like, let me, you got your elbow in. And that was too real for me. By the time that was over, I was real sad.
Yeah. Lots of I'm sorries.
Yeah, a lot of opes.
My bad.
I'm sorry. I was playing with my racetrack at the time. I should have been learning all this shit.
If you want to race cars after this, gotta set up.
Homer had left the freezer door open when we see the frozen wedding cake in there. He had left that open the night before, and the motor on the fridge had worn itself out overnight and ruined it. So the next morning, Homer and Marge are headed out to the country somewhere to get a replacement refrigerator motor, and they get stuck in the mud. They're just not having a good time. They're having a real bum couple of days here.
Yeah.
We see the kids with Abe at the nursing home. Bart excitedly asks Grandpa, "Are they pulling the plug on anyone today?" And Grandpa says, "Nope, everyone's all paid up."
All paid
which
up.
was a great joke.
When Marge and Homer are trying to find a place to spend the night to get out of their rain-soaked clothes, I realize, man, I am a city boy because I can't remember the last time I crossed over a barbed wire fence or held a barbed wire fence so someone else could get through
really?
it. Yep. It has been a long time. You know, the kind of just you putting your hand in between the sharp parts, you push it down, you kick a leg over, then you kick another leg over, then you let it up, or like if someone's kids with, you push down in the middle, you pull up on the top, give up a big enough spot to get through. But
yeah, it's like getting in a wrestling ring.
Yep. Good way to look at it. It has been 18 years since I've probably done that. And that's weird because that's a part of growing up if you live rural,
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a long time for me too. I was like most 3-wire fences I could go over the top like Kevin Nash. I could high step. I could Andre the Giant over the top of a 3-wire, but a 4-wire you always had to get in between.
I don't think we had much 4-wire growing up, and I was just thinking that too. Like, I don't think I could go over the top of a 3-wire fence anymore. I don't know if I got that kind of
not anymore. I don't think I got the hip mobility for it.
I was thinking I got a bad hip, man. I think that is, and I am too wide to do the middle, so I would have to belly crawl like a goddamn serpent Oh man, that's
yeah, I see you fighting with it for 20 minutes and then just driving down the fence line looking for a gate. Just no, fuck this. I think the last time I was around barbed wire, I drove my motorcycle through it when I was like 18 years old. That was my last bad motorcycle accident. Was I drove a fucking motorcycle through a barbed wire fence.
I like that you had enough bad motorcycle accidents that you could have a last one.
that was the last one. Yeah, that was definitely the worst and the last. It's like, well, I think we're done with this now.
Hang up the motocross boots, I don't think.
Yeah, I think I'm fine just tipping my hat, doing the Derek Jeter and piecing out of the motorcycle world.
I don't think I'm going to make anyone forget about Corey Hart anytime soon. Guess I'll get a liberal arts degree.
Yeah, I think I've used up all that's in the tank for this life. Time to do something different. So Homer and Marge get through the fence and they take off. It's storming badly and the car is stuck in the mud. So they're out on foot, as you said, looking for shelter. They end up in a barn, and the farmer thinks he hears noise and goes to see if anybody's poking around in his barn. He has a shotgun with a pitchfork tied to the top of it like a bayonet, which I thought was very ingenious. That's good ingenuity there. And he's poking around, prodding. The Simpsons are up in the hayloft, but the farmer gives up after not finding anybody. And Homer and Marge, with a rush of endorphins from almost having been discovered and pitchfork murdered, they just throw down in that hayloft.
Yeah, good for them.
Yeah, which seems nice on television, but I bet banging in hay is not good. I bet that's not a fun. ordeal.
Sure, you growing up remember how rough it is on you if you attempt to haul square bales with a short sleeve T-shirt because it rips up your forearm something severe. Catch what it does to your inner thighs,
your taint,
the taint. Yeah.
There's some real rough alfalfa stuck up in your undercarriage.
Yeah, I don't need that. Yeah,
I don't need that.
That's going to have to rot because I'm not going to be able to reach that to clean it anyhow. So it's up there for good. I don't
Nathan,
take care.
You smell like silage. Yeah, I got
just
some.
Gonna say.
I got half a square alfalfa bale shoved up into my taint, and I can't get at it.
I don't take care of myself. It's going to go to seed. Alfalfa's growing in good under my love handles this year.
Probably get a second cutting out of that if we get a little more moisture
for a first freeze. Yeah. You're just saying all of this to yourself while on a bus with strangers, like, just inspecting under your fat. Look at that. That's nice.
We're starting to ferment up under these back titties.
There we go.
This
is fun
in the winter.
Yeah.
We see the kids, they get a hold of Abe's metal detector and they go off to have fun with that. A hobby that I don't believe I've ever felt like getting into. I feel like I had like an uncle or a great uncle or maybe a grandpa who had a metal detector, but strictly for like, oh shit, we lost a nail somewhere and need to find it, But I don't think I know any. Oh, what's the word? Like recreational metal detectors.
And right around when I was Bart's age, I remember having a thought that, holy shit, having a metal detector would be cool. But it was a very fleeting thought because holy shit. Talking about something that screams, you're never going to know the touch of a woman more than being a teenage metal detector enthusiast. Do you remember those advertisements that used to try to promote it, like selling metal detectors and things like that? There was always
where
that
it was
one.
like it was billed as a hobby that you could have.
It's like, I enjoy the exercise, and my wife enjoyed this, and he's holding up a wedding ring that he's like, your wife enjoys dead women's lost jewelry. Like, what kind of maniac did you marry?
That was always what I found weird about those ads, because I did remember those during this episode, was like there was always like a guy at the beach sweeping this thing around, and he's got 9 gold necklaces on that he found. It's like, you're roundabout stealing is what you're doing. Like, this is theft that is being billed as a hobby for retirees. I don't. It always hit my ear a little different. Yeah, like this is borderline criminal, but they would preach those late night commercials like, get into this fucking hobby.
Take advantage of the salvage laws.
Plus, I want to say it was like my grandpa's brother had one that I saw one time, and it was much like a fridge with ice in the door. Like, you must be a millionaire if you had the money to buy this fucking thing. So they're dicking around with that. Homer and Marge are off to a bed and breakfast, but they can't get any fireworks going in the bedroom until they're walked in on by the person who runs the bed and breakfast, and that gets things going. And they start to realize they got a bit of an exhibitionist streak in them. A bit of a it's the danger that gets the lead in your pencil. It's like, okay, yeah, sure, takes all sorts. I don't judge nobody.
I enjoyed the name of the bed and breakfast, Snuggler's Cove.
Oh, awesome. I didn't even see that. That's perfect.
Snuggle is a term that comes up a lot on The Simpsons, mostly from Marge.
Yeah. I love that Marge's immediate reaction as soon as they enter is, look at all the doilies. That's a very Marge thing to be excited about.
Bed and breakfasts are a very Marge thing.
Yeah.
There's a mom thing.
Also not a North Dakota thing,
nope.
I don't think.
Nope.
I think, when I think bed and breakfast, I think East Coast. I think of New England. Mm-hmm. You know, like Delaware has bed and breakfast. The unforgiving prairie of southwestern North Dakota does not.
There's just abandoned farmhouses. Like, you just sleep in them for free.
I think if you'd have told my dad in 1998 what a bed and breakfast was, he would have fucking thrown you out of the house. Like, what? You just go stay at someone else's house like some fucking weirdo? He wouldn't have said fucking. My dad not big on the F word.
Oh, fascinating. My dad was not a cussing guy around the house, but if things went sideways, he went hard MFer and hard CSer, which I did not realize till well into my 20s is not something most dads shout in fits of rage. It was CS this, CS that CS an idiot down at H.E. Everson's gave me the wrong CS and parked that dumb MFer. And it's like, it is 8:45 a.m., man.
You're going to have a fucking stroke, Dad.
I haven't got your first coffee finished yet. Yeah, it is. We run hot. Every once in a while, I'll let that out myself a little bit. Like, what are you doing, dude? Just because the shopping cart doesn't want to come loose from the other one? Like, what is up with you, bro?
Yeah, I bet I had graduated high school by the first time I heard my dad say fuck. Like,
fascinating.
It was, like, he had all the anger. Like, he had the same levels of rage, but not the profane vocabulary for it. So, like, in fact, it was kind of the opposite. Like, I once saw him rip the fingernail off his middle finger, changing the bottoms of the plow one day. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he just shouted, "Dag nabbit." Like, he was unprofane, but that it still had the same level of stank that the word motherfucker would have had on it, you know?
Oh, interesting. Yeah, like there was certainly no cussing in the house unless something went pear-shaped in the house. Like let's say if my dad was working on like a sink or something like that. Like, yeah, there'd be like we never cussed our mom unless things went bad. Then it was, Katie bar the door. Fucking this would be some very colorful language coming from underneath that sink pretty soon. Not a curse thing, but one thing when like working along with my dad, one thing he would often tell us when we weren't working hard enough, which was all the time in his eyes, he'd always say, God damn it, boys, you got to learn to put out, which would always make me snicker. Boys ain't
that's not
out.
What that means.
Yeah. Or maybe it did it's like, you weren't alive in the 40s. Why are you using parlance from the 40s? Gotta learn to put out a little bit.
The Simpsons kids are out with their metal detector because Bart is convinced they're going to find pirate treasure, and they find a film reel that is the alternate ending to Casablanca, which I really laughed at because I love Casablanca.
Yeah,
I think that's a great movie.
Yeah, especially for a movie that's close to 80 years old. Boy, it holds up well.
Yeah, one of only a couple super old black and white movies that I really love. The other one being the 1939 of Mice and Men with Burgess Meredith and Lon Chaney Jr. But Casablanca is fantastic, and this alternate ending is amazing.
Yeah. Very popcorn movie-esque.
Yeah, and Bart loves it because, of course,
Bart's
he does.
Adult.
Lisa thinks it's an abomination, of course. The Marge and Homer are in they're at the golf course, the mini golf course, and they're in the windmill, their old hookup spot in the windmill, and they're going to get things going in there, but one of the Flanderses hits their ball into it, and it doesn't come out the other side, so now all the Flanders and a ton of other characters from Springfield are all reaching into the hole in the windmill, squeezing on Homer, trying to figure out what's in there. And I love Mo the problem solver just puts a hose on his exhaust pipe and sticks it in there.
We're gonna gas him out.
We're gonna gas him out. So the Simpsons, they upend the windmill and then take off in the confusion, fully nude. Yeah. So they're running around. We get a lot of Austin Powers jokes.
Gags,
Yeah, standing behind something that is covering up your bits. Mm-hmm. You get a lot of that.
And God, dude, there were some just heartbreakingly lonely men that have cranked one out to Marge behind a bird feeder countless times.
There's some lonely fellas our age who this is their secret favorite episode of The Simpsons.
Yep. Oh man.
They're running through a used car lot. We get a good Gil appearance, which I'm learning to love more and more. And I feel like we're getting a lot lately. So
when it came out that he only 2 payments left on his hot plate that was a good line.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
So. The Simpsons dive into a hot air balloon, which then they take off in, and they're trying to escape. At this point, they're not even worried about being incognito anymore because they're in a fucking hot air balloon. Mm-hmm. And Homer, of course, falls out of the basket because he's Homer, and so he's dangling from a rope. They drag naked Homer over the glass ceiling of this mega church during a fucking sermon, which was very funny. I did like that a lot.
Yep.
And the sound, just the of skin on glass. Oh, fuck, that was funny. And then they end up landing in a stadium during a football game because at that point we just have this go as badly as possible. So they land in a football game, and the fans are all taking pictures, and we see the next morning that they're in the paper, and the Simpsons still have a little spice to them, a little row in there, and that's kind of the end of the episode. Is the kids being like ew, and the parents being lovey-dovey, and we roll credits.
Yeah, it was an episode. I wasn't.
Yeah. I don't know. It was fine. It was,
It wasn't bad.
Exactly.
We've had bad episodes now, so this
Yeah,
this is the new reality we live in.
Yeah, but that was good. Yeah. I like the stuff with Abe. What little there was, the kids' B story of using the metal detector. I feel like didn't really go anywhere. Yeah, but all in all, it was fine. I dug it. We get a gill, and you can't lose with a gill.
Yep. So that episode puts a bow on season 9, and we are bursting through the doors of season 10, brother.
So here we are.
This would be fall of 98. I was freshly graduated from high school and not going to college, which one of the first of many questionable decisions I would make in the next several years. I remember a lot of my friends went to the tiny little college in my hometown, and I was just working for the city crew. And I remember I was driving a dilapidated Packer. You can picture a Packer for packing down like freshly paved roads or gravel. I was driving a Packer that's just belching out gross ass smoke. I'm making like $6 an hour. I'm driving it by the college. We're doing like a paving project there. And I watch all of my friends getting out of their cars and going into college as I'm struggling to get a Packer into reverse. And I was thinking, we really got to start thinking about your life goals here. But looking back, I should have just learned how to drive the Packer better.
That would have been the answer.
Yep, totally would have been. But I had a lot of fun that year. Shout out to my buddy Damien, who moved back from a semester at Wahpeton, and we drank a lot of Bud Light. Yeah, I'd say my drinking peaked around that year, which, get it out of the way. That's what I say. 2 to 3 years before you're legally able to.
Yeah, that's the time to get it all in.
Have a lifetime of drinking by the time you're bar age.
I'd have been 13, would have been like starting 8th grade, and this would have been late August, so it would have been right after the county fair. This would be the last year I play football, the last year I play an organized sport. Not wanting to play 8th grade football, but you played 7th, so what are you going to do?
Got to bookend it.
Yeah, and you're not at a point where you're like going to do things you like for yourself, like not confident enough yet to just say, I don't like this, and then not do it. So
that's a hard decision to make in a small town, like, because you're going to eat some shit for it, definitely.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And did that following year. Like, what do you mean you're not playing football, pussy? You know, a lot of that. Yeah. And that never stopped all through high school, but that's just how they were. Yeah.
I'm over it.
Not a lot else going on at this time, though. 13. Again, county fair would have just happened.
Junior high were my least favorite years of childhood.
Yeah, it's probably around here where I stopped listening to modern country music, or what would have been modern country music at the time. This is probably about the time I'm discovering, Pantera and things of that nature.
Fascinating.
Because we'd have been hot swapping Columbia catalogs pretty deep by this point.
I'm gonna go on record as saying I was BMG ride or die. I never dabbled in Columbia House. Yeah. I was a little later. I was probably freshman year. I was still listening to some modern. My first CD ever was Tim McGraw's first album, and that was Christmas of freshman year. But it was around then when I was getting the devil's music was sinking its talons into me.
Yeah. So this would have been at the time that this season starts. I'd have probably still been listening to that post grunge pop rock music, the Matchbox 20s of the world and things of that nature.
Big, yep.
But starting to dabble into heavy metal, and by the time this season ends, Godsmack's self-titled record would have come out, so I would have been having that on repeat. We'd have been having some Metallica's The Black Album thrown in there. This is where all of that started to turn.
I'm picturing first day of school, Marlin getting on the bus with a Walkman, listening to Faith Hill's This Kiss with just a big cheerful smile. And then the last day of school, you get on the bus dressed completely like Wes Borland. Bug eye contacts, face paint, and a mesh bodysuit. There's like a 10-foot sphere around you that no one will come near. Like you're just like you got the plague.
It's by the end of this season of The Simpsons, I probably thought that like a Dave Draymond metal soul patch piercing would have been the coolest shit I'd ever seen.
You're writing up business proposals to convince your mom it's a good idea. It's going to help farm visibility. It's going to get our name out there.
No press is bad press, Mother. And with this metal dangly bit from the lower lip, I mean, if you want to go middle of the road package, the Sully Erna eyebrow ring is very hot right now.
You have a PowerPoint you're showing.
It's amazing that I got to my age and don't have a Godsmack son tattoo somewhere on me, like around my giant belly button.
Yeah, holy fuck, that'd be great. What was the first single off that first? Was it called Whatever?
Oh yeah, Whatever was the song.
I loved Whatever. Like if I hear that,
fuck yeah.
If I hear that on a Burrito Rock radio station right now, I'm probably not turning the channel.
Oh hell no, that's still a good song. Yeah,
but what was the big hit? Wasn't there another one that was even bigger than Whatever off that album?
Voodoo.
Yeah, Voodoo was big. Yep.
And Keep Away was a lesser third single, but Whatever, Voodoo, and Keep Away were the singles off that record.
Okay, yeah, there you go. But yeah, I always liked
Whatever's a good song. I'll stand by Whatever.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you. Look at us. A Godsmack consensus, finally.
Yeah.
We've put differences aside. We've agreed.
And they've been remaking that record for fucking 30 years now.
Man, yeah.
Godsmack kind of settled into the AC/DC rut of like, listen, you know what kind of music we make. Here's a new one.
Do you like it? If you do, come see us play. We're not gonna we're not gonna drop a fucking EDM album on you. We're gonna it's gonna be fucking Whatever Part 4.
Yep. It's funny you say that. There's a Voodoo 2. They wrote a sequel to Voodoo.
They did.
They went the Metallica Unforgiven route. There's a Voodoo 2.
Yeah.
And it's not good.
Yeah. So for in season 10 Simpsons, we've had a lot of laughs at the pathetic shows that have been paired with the Simpsons ratings machine. Babes, probably the one that's captured America's attention the most. Drexel's Class.
Need to do it. We need our Babes episode.
Do we ever? Maybe that's what we can treat people with.
If anyone knows... Like you and I talked about this before we started recording. Maybe we'll put it here in the show. If anyone knows how to get a hold of that show, because that apparently never saw the light of day when it comes to home releases. No one was clamoring for the Babes DVD box
for the
set.
Laserdisc set in 1998.
Right. There's no collector's edition where it comes in a cool box. I would like to see that entire series. There's a couple episodes on YouTube, along with a couple of clips on YouTube, but I want to see the whole series, and seemingly you can't do that. Yeah. Seemingly that's just not a real thing. So if anyone knows where we could find the full series run of Babes, you can go ahead and email barleybasketUSA@gmail.com.
We would love to
let us know.
We appreciate in advance. Looking at the lineup, again, it's usually just nothing but duds. But you know what we had in the 98-99 network television schedule on Fox? We had the debuts following The Simpsons of both Futurama and Family Guy.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize Family Guy was that early.
Yep. Family Guy was, I was thinking it was even a year earlier. I thought I was in high school, but it debuted right after I got out of high school. And still on the air. And both of these examples of shows, which so few times this happens, that were canceled and after a multi-year break came back. You know, Family Guy was on the air for 2.5 seasons and took like a 3 or 4 year break. And now we're going on 15 seasons extra on top of this. Like,
Yeah, those both Futurama and Family Guy in particular. Family Guy was kind of the first. Both hugely benefited from massive DVD sales.
Yep.
Like,
and syndication.
The sale of those DVDs is what brought that show back from the dead.
Airing every weeknight on Adult Swim for 2 years straight.
Yep. And that, they were able to look at those numbers and be like, well, apparently people like it. Put it fucking back on. That was the Family Guy 3-season DVD box sets were the thing that everyone owned in college. Everyone I knew owned those 3 boxes on their shelf.
There are pawn shop owners who have built garages out of unsold used copies of Family Guy DVDs.
Yeah.
And for Futurama, how many extra seasons did they have? And I think it was on Comedy Central, right? Was it just 1 or 2?
When it came back, it came to Comedy Central, and I think it was more than 1 or 2, but it wasn't.
Yeah, and it would have been cable, so it wouldn't have been like a full 20-odd episode run like you get on network TV. It'd probably been like 10 episodes a season, like.
Right. Yeah, I'm looking here. It looks like probably only 3 or 4 seasons on Comedy Central, but they also put a lot into those movies. I don't know if you remember.
Oh, yep.
But
like the Beast of 1,000 Backs, or
Yeah. They did several Futurama movies in addition to the show.
Yeah.
So that one also saw a pretty decent run. Not Family Guy, obviously, but a pretty decent run after being canceled, which is impressive. That kind of thing doesn't happen.
Another show that it didn't debut right after The Simpsons, but it was right around that time, and then they pretty quickly switched it to being after The Simpsons for a month or two, was That 70s Show, which that had like a decade-long run. Like,
yeah, I remember really liking That 70s Show.
I remember being like, I was old enough that I was like an elitist. I assumed it was terrible. By the time I got into it, it was already in syndication. It had several seasons. I was like, you know what? There's nothing wrong with this show. It's got some laughs, like.
Yeah, by the time I got into it, it would have been like late high school and into college. I feel like I wasn't watching it when everyone else was, I think by the time I got into it, it was on its downhill slide. But yeah, I always thought that show was funny. Mm-hmm. Like, I think Kurtwood Smith is super funny.
Topher Grace and Laura Prepon are both great comedic performers. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Ashton Kutcher, say what you want. That dude was born to play that role.
Yep, he was real funny on that show.
Yeah.
What's his name that played Stephen Hyde on that show was funny.
Hyde was the only character that I've always had a thing where why is he the cool tough guy? Ashton Kutcher could rip him in half. He could pick him up and casually tear him into 2 smaller people.
Yeah, that makes sense. I guess if you point at it and be like, he's not cool. Yeah. That's accurate. Yeah. I always just liked him for his fuck the man attitude. Because if something's taking place in the 70s, you have to have that character.
That's poking fun at... it was meant to be that way. It's poking fun at, oh my God, set in Wisconsin, but in the 50s, teenagers. Ron Howard was the star. Happy Days, because it's the idea of the Fonz. Oh, why is a 35-year-old tiny man the cool kid? And why is he dating teenagers? So maybe it's kind of, highlighting how ludicrous that whole concept was.
That could be, sure. I always really liked the guest stars they would get on that show, where it's like, hey, here's an episode that has one of the Bond girls from the 70s in it, and she's 30 years later now. I always thought those kind of little nods to 70s movies and stuff was always very cool. Tommy Chong on that show was great. That's kind of the first you saw of Jim Gaffigan playing the manager of the
forgot all about
the place Hyde works. Yeah, that was. I think that Mitch Hedberg was on that show.
No kidding.
Yeah, he was on an episode. He does a bit about it on one of his albums, where it's like, how does he put it? The fucking short, punchy Mitch Hedberg jokes. Yeah. Something along the lines of I smoked fake weed with Peter Frampton on that 70s show, except I've also smoked real weed with people who just look like Peter Frampton way more. Like, I butcher that, obviously, but yeah, he's on an episode of that.
No kidding. Look at me learning stuff.
Yeah. Also, I adored, what's her name? Deborah Jo Rupp on that show. Eric's mom. The super high-pitched.
Perfectly cast, yep.
Yeah, but like always self-medicating with booze all the time, like barely holding it together. She was funny.
And as a testament to her acting abilities, right around this same time, she's playing like a pregnant 20-something on Friends. She's like,
oh really?
She's like Giovanni Ribisi's like girlfriend who gets pregnant. Yeah, like, and I think it's like Lisa Kudrow's brother. I don't know Friends that well, but like, it's like she's also currently playing the mother of a woman with a daughter in college. You know, like so she can play 48 or 28, which that takes some skill. So good on her.
Look at you with a timely segue of Lisa Kudrow, who is a guest star on this episode.
Didn't even mean to do it. Look at that. I think they call that kismet. Oh, one quick thing. Looking at this lineup, not so much Fox, but just network TV in general, the 98-99 network TV lineup was, I would say, we're probably getting close to the last year where sitcoms ruled the root. Like, you look at NBC's lineup, it is like 80% sitcoms. It's like,
and then are those what is the meteor that killed that dinosaur? Is it the talent shows and reality shows?
It's a combination. We're just now the summer of '99 is when the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire monolith starts for ABC.
Oh, sure, and the game shows.
And that winter we get Survivor, and then it was Survivor changed everything. I bet within 2 years we're going to see half as many sitcoms as we do now. It was mostly reality TV. You had the Big Brother, then you had Survivor, and every network tried to find their own because they're so cheap to produce. And then it was the landscape of network TV has never been the same.
And then the reality shows kind of gave way to the talent shows after that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then we had also, I mean, they always were popular, but like, it just seems like that. Like hour-long dramas, like either medical dramas or police procedurals, they seem to not be hit as hard as sitcoms were.
Because they had their heyday kind of before this with your ERs.
Yeah.
Or maybe ER was the only one, for all I know.
I think there was a pretty big mid-2000s ones with the CSI phenomenon, and kind of some of those Law & Order spin-offs were huge on NBC, and CBS is just, their network thrives on shows that no one under the age of 50 knows exists, but everyone over, like shows like NCIS run for a dozen years. Have you ever seen an episode?
No.
Like, watching football, they've been advertising a show called Blue Bloods for what feels like 35 years. Tom Selleck's in it, but beyond that, he could fight crime. He might be, I don't know what he does, but my fucking great aunts and uncles probably do. Because that's the kind of shit they like. We're into season 10 now of The Simpsons. And the double digits, all grown up. We're almost there. We
made it.
Only 22 seasons left. Episode 1 of season 10 is Lard of the Dance. Starts off with the family buying school supplies, which that was a thought I hadn't, or a memory that hadn't crossed my mind in so long. Like, it was like jarring. Oh shit, that was part of childhood. That one day in August, you and your mom and your brother, or maybe your aunt and her kids or whatever, that all together would drive to town, or maybe you were in Minot or Bismarck, and you bought your school supplies. Like, forgot that was a thing.
Notebooks and paper folders
and like your mom would get a thing in the mail from the school with a list like of the things each grade needed. Like, and one thing I'd forgotten about too, but this reminded me, like, in your guys' school, was it a thing that everyone had to bring a box of Kleenex to the first day of school? That was
what? No.
Yeah, that was
what?
Yeah, like that was on your list of things. I remember we had to get that put in your backpack with all your school supplies. Because looking back, like, couldn't our school afford Kleenex that we had to hoard it. Like every children, like what about the kids that didn't bring it? Did they get to use the Kleenex that my parents paid for? I don't think that's right. This is how libertarianism starts.
We finally found something my school had that yours didn't. Yes. Kleenexes.
What's a state sanctioned nose tissue? No, we always had to bring our own. Always remember that, like there's just a pile of Kleenex boxes that would slowly shrink as the cold and flu season kicked into high gear.
No, we didn't have that. No communal Kleenexes, I guess.
I do not believe I've bought a package of Kleenex as an adult.
Nathan, you're an adult. You can go buy Kleenexes.
Nope. You know what I do buy, though? I buy toilet paper. It's the same thing.
It is
you
not.
You gotta blow your nose.
You know what?
You do the quick hand wrap. You take it off. You fold it. Blow. Toilet. Flush. Done. I mean, you should wash your hands, but it depends how busy you are.
My version of that is I don't buy napkins and just use paper towels. So I can't judge you too hard.
I can at least understand the concept of someone buying Kleenex. I can't even wrap my brain around buying napkins on purpose. Thinking my mother did. There were napkins in our house. There wasn't just a roll of paper towels on the dining room table like we're eating at a fucking Famous Dave's.
Dave's.
God, yeah. Like I've reached a level of bachelorhood barbarism that I can't even understand. Like, where would I keep them? What do you do with them?
I will about twice a year be out buying groceries and go down that paper goods aisle and be like, buy a fucking pack of napkins, you animal, and buy some. But then when they run out, I go right back to paper towels, and that's the end of it.
Yeah, for as much as a human, barnyard animal I can be, especially in my 20s, I have never been the paper plates guy.
Yeah, look at you go.
Mm-hmm. Would there be alarming lapses of time between those plates being washed? Absolutely. But by God, I ate off real plates.
I take back the tiny bit of pride I had for you.
Am I 41 years old and still own plates I owned when I was legit 19 years old? Which my roommates would always call my fancy lady plates because they have flowers on them. My grandmother gave them to me.
Fuck yeah, grandma plates. Grandma, I'm pretty sure the plates I have, the big dinner plate set that I have, was my grandma's. So,
and my bowls are all old 70s Tupperware that my mom got as wedding gifts. That she's like, when I was moving out, she's like, "You want these bowls?" I'm like, "Fuck yeah, I do. I love cereal." Still, every once in a while, I'll take a picture and send it to her. Hey, remember these? Still use them.
Boy, I bet she swells with pride when you send her those.
Chemicals have leached into my body from using the same 50-year-old plastic bowls.
There's lead in them bowls.
Those have been microwaved a bunch. That can't be good.
Oh, God.
So the Simpsons are buying their school supplies. I don't even know what that leads into, but I just remember that happening at the beginning. But is that where Lisa meets the new student?
No, she meets her at school. The school supplies thing doesn't really attach to anything. I think it's just, hey, it's time for back to school. Okay. I like during that sequence that Lisa is hype as fuck about the paper.
Yep.
Oh God, they have
college
loose
rule.
leaf, grid, and then she finds college rule and just hugs the tablet. College rule.
And that's another thing. I just hadn't thought about grid paper in so long. That's the kind of things I was just when I'd hear terms like that, I would just zone out, and all of a sudden I'd just be imagining my He-Man guys fighting in my head, and then a teacher would ask me a question I wouldn't even know where I'm at. What's the answer for 17? 17 what? I don't even know what's going on right now. Am I at home? What are you guys doing in my room? Oh, good times. But so the story really, like the plot gets going when Lisa meets the new student whose name is Alex, and she's very mature and super trendy, voiced by Lisa Kudrow, as was just mentioned earlier. And obviously, she's not really an asshole so much, but she's the popular girl. You know she's gonna be. So, yeah. And she's kind of, met Lisa right away. So Lisa has a chance to kind of, parlay this into some popularity for herself. But the other girls quickly glom on to Alex, and Alex is very mature for her age, and Lisa is not. Well, she's just her normal. Lisa's normal. She doesn't. She's not acting like she's fucking 16. She's 8. But the rest of the girls, and right away, Lisa's kind of cool. They say, hey, I want to do little kid stuff because I'm a little kid. And then she realizes she's not getting any attention, and that the new girl's getting all the attention. And then it just kind of goes from there. And then she tries to, like, the clothing they're wearing. Like, hey, I'm going to go on record. I don't like sexy Lisa. Not one bit.
You don't like Lisa in a cocktail dress and platform shoes?
Yeah, and with lipstick.
Neither do I.
And piercing her own ears. No.
Yeah, as soon as that Lisa showed up in this episode later on, I was like, whoa, nope, don't like that.
And trying to get well, first they shouldn't be dancing. They shouldn't have dates. I don't want them taking dates. Like, that's like, did people have dates to dances when you were in junior high or high school? Like, I mean, prom is different, but like, you didn't break a date. Like, we didn't. Like,
I feel like prom was the only school dance we ever had every year. So, I mean, so no, there were none outside of that.
Like, if you had a boyfriend or girlfriend, you probably went together, but that wasn't like, you weren't asking strange women. It's a great way for a 13-year-old to describe a 13-year-old. Like, it's all those strange women. Down. I got to ask one of them to the winter dance.
Here comes 11-year-old Marlin strutting into the soil conservation office with his hair slicked back, trying to pick up a secretary. Date. Asking his buddy's mom to go to the dance with him.
Then I do remember junior high dances being a big event, because at that age, that's your social life is a junior high dance. I'm getting ahead of myself, but they kind of capture that awkwardness. We can kind of get to that in a little bit here. But man, those were the social event of the season, where your finest dress clothes and look really weird because you're shaped really weird. Like, you're just
put on your finest bolo tie.
So was country living big enough, cowboy culture, that multiple kids were dressed like cowboys at your social functions like this?
Oh, for sure. Especially like if I'd have been Lisa's age, I'd have been wearing cowboy gear
but
to a fucking
let's say if you were
this.
15 or 14. Let's say 14, you're in the 8th grade. What percentage of the boys are wearing Western wear?
45%.
Fuck
I feel like
me, really?
I feel like it had seeped into enough people that the ones who were gonna bail out of the fucking cowboy thing were gone, but the ones that were still wearing it at this point are still wearing it today.
Yeah, that's true. Now that I think about it, junior high, there would have been a couple more. Hell, I wore cowboy boots to a few different things, but like high school, it was very rare. Yeah, you're in it to win it if you're 17 and you're still dressing like a cowboy. It's your life. You've embraced that lifestyle. But yeah, we were probably, maybe 5%, and that even seems high. But yeah, something like that.
By this point, by 1998, when I was 13, I was like, this belt buckle doesn't need to be this big.
Yeah,
this is ridiculous. Going on?
Like, this is not comfortable for my body shape. I'll tell you that right now.
I don't need this shirt. I had graduated from snap down dress cowboy shirts to button down flame shirts at this point.
Oh man, the button-down flame shirts. There we go. That was a look. And the B story during the Lisa's parlay and trying to be a popular kid is Homer has discovered you can get paid for fat and grease from the rendering plant. So he has a lot of get-rich-quick schemes involving siphoning fat and grease, which involves, I just like the ongoing thing that Bart is being taken out of school for this.
And is like missing it.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. He would rather be
wishing
in school.
he could be in school.
He'd be part of Homer's insane fucking fat selling schemes. Some of the Homer's math, the fat math is so great.
God, when he fries up all that bacon and collects the grease and then trades it in and gets like 63 cents, and Bart's like, but the bacon costs $24.
but Mom pays for the bacon. It's so great.
Yeah.
Oh man, I was laughing at some of that. Yeah. One thing I thought was an interesting visual was the popular girl Alex has a cell phone in 1998. I'll tell you right now, if you were an 8-year-old with a cell phone, that was proof that taxes needed to be higher because your parents had money to burn.
Yeah. Also, like we were much like we were the last people to get The Simpsons. I think we were the last people to get cell phone service in North Dakota. It's still pretty blank in a lot of areas.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But like. Yeah, I was 13 at this point when this show was on. I didn't get my first cell phone until I was 18. We didn't get like a family cell phone until I was like 17.
Yeah.
So I was a long way off yet. I think some people would have had bag phones by this time. Like vehicle bag phones.
Mm-hmm. A couple of maybe some of the baller farmers and a couple of the more well-to-do families might have had bag phones that I remember. Yeah, that was like my senior year of high school. I think I remember seeing a few bag phones in people's parents' vehicles.
Got the antenna up on the roof.
Yeah. It's like the size of like a duffel bag.
Yeah,
you gotta ground
bag.
it before you fire it up. It's like an acetylene torch. So Lisa is trying to, she tried and she failed. I think she kind of accepts the fact that she doesn't want to be part of the popular girl crowd. But since she's like always the one put in charge of any kind of school function, she's kind of guilted into being the one that lets people into the dance, and she's not impressed because she keeps getting glimpses of the fun from the door opening and all the fun music playing, but then it just shuts and she's just trapped in. Before she does this, there's a great scene where Marge comes into her bedroom like, Lisa, I made some homemade Pepsi you can bring to the dance. It's such an insane thing for someone to make.
Yeah, homemade Pepsi. Yeah. That whole scene is great because Marge gives like a lame mom pep talk that is so fucking good. Yeah. I like that Lisa completely summarizes her like I just want to be a kid mentality with this quote, am I the only one who wants to play hopscotch and bake cookies and watch the McLaughlin group? Yeah. Fuck. God, that was funny.
Yeah, like Lisa channeling her 55-year-old cynic, watching public access or Prairie Public Television news. Yeah,
yeah, she's not into all this other shit.
Yeah, and then the scene is she finally goes into the dance to witness it all, and it is kids on one side, boys on one side, girls on the right. It's a very awkward. It's because that's what kids do at that age. Not at that age. They shouldn't even be having a dance at 8. But I'm very stern. I make a good stern parent.
Yeah, you would. God damn. Really no fun at your house.
Yeah. Shouldn't be dancing until your biscuits drop because you got to have that awkward sexual tension in the room. Like,
I feel like that scene of the gym, the wide open gym, and girls on one wall and boys on the other. I've definitely been at dances like that as a kid for sure.
Yeah,
like that was how that was when probably right around 98.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that'd be more perfect for you. Yeah, I was gonna say for me, it'd be more like 93ish. I remember there was awkward tension with boys. There was a little more mingling than what was on this episode, but like a lot of separation. And then all the girls that went to the super strict Lutheran church hung out on the other basketball court at the other side of the gym and shot baskets, even though none of them played basketball. They just knew that was the devil's work over here going on, so stay away. We're just going to do layup drills for some insane reason until someone's parents pick us up. And then a bunch of the fucking dirt kid boys were in the locker room. I remember walking in there. I kind of liked it because it's like, oh man, the pressure's off. You don't have to impress anybody. It's just a bunch of dudes goofing around. I remember watching a kid named Davey spray his arm with aerosol hairspray and then start it on fire. And just like, yeah, look at that. That's cool. What else can we burn? But I thankfully had a thought, hey man, you go down this road, you're going to be a dirt kid. Like, is this what you want to choose, man? You're making big choices at this age. Like, which social strata are you going to be a part of here? Like, so I went out there and I gathered up the gumption to dance straight armed with one girl for 3.5 minutes.
Leaving space for Jesus.
Yeah, I don't even think we needed that. I think our own body shame awkwardness was leaving plenty of space.
Just elbows locked.
Yeah. There's always that one weird alpha male that's already fucking not a virgin anymore when he's 12. Like, what happened? So while all this is going on, Homer has inadvertently started a grease war with the Acme Grease Company, and he's going to one-up them. He doesn't want to take no for an answer. So he's trying to get into the school's sweet grease, because you can imagine a school has tons of grease because they're making tons of food. So they've broken into the school. They're trying to siphon the grease. And they're caught by Willie, the groundskeeper, who bathes himself with Ajax.
In the sink.
And we get back to ripped Willie. We had some non-ripped Willie appearances. Willie's ripped again.
I often forget because we see it so seldomly now. So I forget that Willie is just this fucking Adonis. Yeah. This Scottish hard-bod Willie. I always forget. Yeah. So as soon as he walked into the cafeteria in this scene, I was just like, oh, right. Yeah. I forgot that Willie's just this beefcake.
And it ends with so they're up there fighting, and the grease is building because Homer's getting choked out with the siphoning hose, and that grease is just building up. And as the dance is at its awkward peak, the grease explodes. It can't hold up anymore. It explodes. There's a literal tsunami of bacon fat floods the gym.
So fucking gross.
And Lisa throws a ball of fat at the popular girl. Hey, girl, act your age. It hits, and she and the new girl like, okay, I'll play along. And there's a scene where Nelson grabs, a grease ball, and he flips it just as the pizza chef guy walks in. And they say, hey, why you gotta be mean to Mario or whatever his Luigi? It's like
Luigi, you got the wrong Mario, brother.
Yeah, I didn't even like took me. It's like, grease ball was supposed to be like a slur against the Italians.
Yep, that took me a second too. Yeah. I was like, and then when it did hit me, I was like, oh, yeah. Right.
And that's kind of how the episode ends. Just them horsing around, having a old-fashioned... Nothing reminds me of my childhood than having a grease ball fight. Waist deep in bacon fat.
Oh. Yeah, they just being kids. Yeah. We don't need to be grown up too fast.
Yeah, good for them. Wholesome.
God damn it. There's a scene in the air ducts when Beefcake Willie finally gets his hands on Homer, and Homer's begging him off, and Willie says, if it were up to me, I'd let you go. And then he holds up his clenched fists and says, but the lad's got a temper and they've been drinking all day.
Yeah. Oh, I died too, man. Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That was a classic thing for my dad too. He'd hold up his fist. Which one do you want? You want the hospital or you want the funeral home?
God.
That's a middle-aged man joke.
That's such a dad thing. Yeah. But I think the lad's got a temper and they've been drinking all day is my favorite one of those.
So good. Yeah, I got it.
God damn it, I was dying.
Yeah. That was, and again, what were your thoughts? It wasn't insultingly bad, but it wasn't it was fine.
Yeah, it didn't blow my skirt up, but it was fine. It was all right. fucking Groundskeeper Willie will bump an episode up like a whole letter grade for me. So I was, by the end of this episode, I was pleased with it, but I spent a lot of it just like,
Yeah, I'm with you. And again, it just like, yeah, they got a famous person to do a voice, so we gotta do that, I guess.
Yeah, and not only like just do a voice, but she enters the show by making a Friends reference by telling Lisa not to be such a Phoebe.
Yep. One thing you and I are probably in agreement with, the best episodes are when they give a little time to one of the secondary characters. The worst episodes are when they give too much time to a character we're never going to see again. Like the Rodney Dangerfield episode. It's like, really? Do we have to? All these other episodes are so good. Why do we need a whole episode dedicated to this character that's not that interesting?
Yeah, that never occurred to me, but yes, it's the episodes that are completely based around a character we're never going to see again that
often
that I usually don't care for.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, my favorite episodes are like the ones that are just center around Burns. Or Groundskeeper Willie.
Or Groundskeeper Willie, yep.
Ralphie, you know.
Skinner and Krabappel episodes.
Yeah, it's the single use characters that get too much screen time. Those are usually my least favorite ones. Like this is a rarity of a Lisa episode that I don't really care for.
Yeah. Yeah. Good point.
Too much focused around Alex.
Yep.
But in the end, we get Willie with his shirt off, so it's an A. It's an A+, maybe. Beefcake Willie. Yeah. God, did I laugh when he comes strutting into that room. Just like, fucking right. I forgot.
Yeah, because we've seen him a couple times. That's never really been accentuated lately. But by God, the man he's still really, that'd be pretty low carb in it to have that much definition. He's cutting. He's in his cut phase.
Yep. Next episode 2 of season 10 is Wizard of Evergreen Terrace. We get your favorites, Bill and Marty, doing the zoo fucking radio. And they're on in the afternoons now. They got moved apparently.
Am I right that the Simpsons haven't poked fun at like a morning zoo radio show in a while?
It's been a long time. Because I feel like we first met Bill and Marty in probably season 1. 1 or maybe 2.
Yep, damn right.
Like, we haven't gotten a lot of radio jokes ever since. Like, there was that episode where Bleeding Gums Murphy dies. We take a couple pot shots at the independent jazz radio station. But for the most part, not a lot. They kick off this episode by informing Homer, who's listening on the radio, that the average the life expectancy, that's the phrase, of the American male is like 72 or 70, there it is, 76.2 years. And Homer has a fucking meltdown because he realizes that by that number he is halfway through his life and just like slams his car into the median and leaves it. Like, walks out.
Just
makes a call at a roadside phone, which is not a thing anymore. Homer just becomes obsessed with his mortality, and not obsessed in a good way. Not like, so I'm going to get out there and live, but really just down that he's halfway through already.
Yeah, he's not doing anything to change the problem. He's just going to wallow in it.
Yeah. The family, in an attempt to cheer him up, throw him a "This Is Your Life" party, where they have like the film reel set up, which is something I don't think I've ever seen in real life, a fucking film reel, much less in someone's house. But it's at this point where they're like, remember the time you went to space? And there's a clip from that episode where he went to space. Remember the time you were almost the heavyweight champ? And there's a clip from that episode where he was boxing. And as soon as that second one came and went, and then a third one happens, I was like, wait a minute, is this a clip show? My guard went up immediately. Like, I had my fists to my chin, just like, come on, don't you fucking do this to me.
Yep, I'm with you. I kind of forgot about that, but I totally had that. Oh, shit. Oh, no. Like, no.
Like, the hairs on your neck stand up, just like, no. Yeah, my fight or flight kicked in real fucking fast.
Yeah.
Thankfully, that is not the case whatsoever. So, Homer becomes obsessed with Thomas Edison. I forget how he learns about, like the film reel breaks and he's like, what idiot invented this? And Lisa says, well, it was Thomas Edison, along with the light bulb and the phonograph and all these other things. And Homer becomes obsessed with Thomas Edison because he invented so many things and was so important and seemingly lived such a fulfilled life and is still remembered. And that's the kind of thing that he needs right now in this new mortality conundrum that he's in. So he just goes whole hog on researching Thomas Edison.
To the point where he's boring his buddies at the bar to tears.
Barney's just asleep on the bar.
Yeah, I think it was Lenny was in the middle of an amazing story with a sexual liaison with a random woman.
He's right in the middle of so she's coming out of the ocean and a wave rips her swimsuit off, and he's like, everyone's on pins and needles listening. Then Homer comes in and starts talking about Thomas Edison and fucking ruins the whole party. Homer goes so far as to decide that he's going to become an inventor, and that's how he's going to give his life meaning, is just chase Thomas Edison and follow that same dream. He comes home from work and excitedly tells Marge that he quit his job, and she's taken aback, and she's like, well, you may as well try this inventor thing, and if it doesn't work, you can always go back to work at the power plant. And without elaborating, he just goes, not the way I quit, and leaves the scene. Which is great. Just lets your imagination fill in what could have he done.
We know Homer pretty well at this point, so we know it was probably pretty spectacular.
Yeah. And I like that the writers were just like, we don't need to show you. You can fill in the blanks.
Exactly. Less is more.
He sets up a little space to work down in the basement and is just racking his brain, but just staring at a blank piece of paper that says inventions written across the top. And as somebody who has been doing his damnedest to write new jokes during the age of the Rona, I can very relate.
Mm-hmm. I am with you there. And I can relate too, because if you would have asked ages probably 5 to 8-year-old Nathan what he was going to be when he grew up, it was inventor. I thought that was just a job. You could be an inventor. Yep. I think I was fueled by 2 different sources. The dad on the Gremlins was an inventor, and also Doc Brown from Back to the Future. I was like, oh, okay, these are 2 men. One raised a family off of his inventions on the Gremlins, apparently. And Doc Brown has a shop. He has a suit coat. He has a DeLorean. So he's apparently doing okay. It's like,
his best friend is a 40 years younger than him high school student, which is weird. Yeah. For me, the 2 inventors taken from movies in my life would have been Doc Brown and Robin Williams' character from Flubber. So we grew up just in barely different enough eras.
I was like glue sniffing age by the time Flubber came out. On the subject of inventors, I had just a saltiness during all of this because I, like a lot of other late millennial, early Gen X loners, really got into Nikolai Tesla research in the early aughts. So we were taught to believe that Edison is a piece of shit, fucking carpet-bagging asshole that just steals good ideas and destroys the good ideas of others because he's just a capitalist fucking elephants. Swine. Yeah, and he juices elephants just.
Homer eventually does come up with some inventions, and I was fucking howling during this scene of him unveiling his inventions to the family. First up, the electric hammer. Just a hammer with a swivel point and an electric motor tied to it, so it just goes like a woodpecker.
Yeah.
And of course, all of these, none of these are good inventions, and they all end up in hilarity, with Homer knocking out a bunch of drywall and then having the hammer like drag him across the room. The everything's okay alarm, which is just a smoke detector, except it sets off a piercingly loud alarm. Like, I turned my television down during this this sequence, because I'm assuming on the audio end they just maxed this out for this part of it, because it is piercing loud, and it goes off every 3 seconds as long as it doesn't detect anything wrong.
Yeah. That was great. I think my favorite is the one you're going to mention next.
Me too. My favorite of the batch is the makeup gun. One for the ladies, he intros it with. Have you ever been running late for a powerful business meeting and then realize you don't have any makeup on, and without missing a beat, Marge is like, yes, it's every woman's worst nightmare. Yeah. Say hello to the makeup gun, and it's just a black shotgun with, like, vials of paint screwed on underneath, and he fucking puts it in Marge's face and just blasts her with it. and we show Marge, and it's like clown makeup. Yeah. She's got white foundation and blue around her eyes and red lipstick, but it's just splatter shot. God damn it, did I laugh at that. And he shows her in the mirror, and she goes, Homer, you had it set to whore.
Yeah, that's what that elicited a legit LOL from me.
Holy shit. And then he picks the gun up to give her another one, and I think it's Lisa pulls the gun away so he doesn't shoot Marge again, and he blasts it on the wall, and it's this perfect abstract
clown
paint
face
splatter. Clown face. Oh, now I gotta go get my cold cream gun. God damn it! The makeup gun, huge fan. Huge fan of that sequence. And then the last one, like, I thought that should have been the ending one, because you end with your closer, because his next invention seems like a lazy one, which is just a recliner with that's a toilet, so you can shit without leaving your recliner.
Yeah. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we had, it was like the Letterman top 10. Number 2 is always the funniest, and number 1 is the one where you're just thrown to commercial anyway.
Yep.
But yeah, it's a recliner that you can shit in. Yeah. So, which I wouldn't want in my apartment. I feel like you would buy a toilet recliner.
Yeah, I just think unless you could somehow hook it up to your sewage system, it's more trouble than it's worth. It's an ounce of convenience for a pound of headaches is how I would look at it. You're gonna have to pay the toilet shit piper at some point. Like it's gonna have to get dumped.
I mean, it flushes. He flushes
it.
It's hooked up.
Where does it go?
Just cartoon magic. Yep. I doubt there's actual water piping in the middle of their den in front of the fucking fireplace.
That would take a lot of work. Had to tear up the foundation to put that
in. Marge breaks the news to Homer that these inventions are terrible.
Ugh.
And Homer takes it hard, of course. Homer not good with criticism.
Nope.
And they show him at the dinner table. He's all sad and dejected, and he leans back in his chair and leans too far, which, first off, is the most terrifying feeling ever. And I haven't done it in a long time.
Yep, I've been too big for a while to test chairs in such a matter.
I feel like I haven't done a like rocking on the back legs like Homer is doing here, but I've definitely leaned too far back in an office chair and eaten shit. Like, but it's been a couple years. I knock on wood, I'm doing okay. But that exact moment where you tip past your tipping point.
Or those times when you get there, but you it finally leans back forward. I go, just missed it. I'm an outlaw.
It's that brief feeling of weightlessness that is the most terrifying thing.
Isn't that what we live for, Marlin? To be weightless again?
That's much like the Homer and Marge exhibitionist episode earlier. That's what really gets me going. It's the only way I can finish.
Why we do drugs?
If I lean back in my chair too far.
That's why we skydive. We just want to feel weightless again.
So Homer like almost falls back, but there's an extra set of chair legs on the chair that he's attached with hinges that then swing out and catch him so he doesn't fall. And he's like, I put those on because I kept falling. And they're like, well, that's a great invention. So he came up with a good invention without even trying to. And then that's immediately taken away because he goes back downstairs to his quote-unquote lab and sees that Edison has them on his chair in the inspirational poster he has hung up. He's like, well, fuck, I didn't even come up with that then. But on the graph that he has hanging on the wall with all of Edison's inventions on it, that chair isn't listed. So in Homer's mind, that means that Edison never patented it, which means if he goes to the Edison Museum, there's a big fucking leap here. If he goes to the Edison Museum and destroys the non-tippable chair, then he can patent his and take all the credit for it, which is a leap of logic that I didn't really see coming. But
I just I didn't punch out, but I just lost interest. There was too much plot, not enough jokes. I wasn't invested enough in the plot at this point. But
this is a real shift in the episode. So Homer and Bart are headed to the Edison Museum because they're going to destroy this chair. And they get there and they see that much like Homer idolized Edison, Edison idolized and was chasing Da Vinci throughout his entire life. So Homer, I forget exactly how, but kind of is just like, Edison and I were the same. I don't need to destroy his work and take credit for it, and just goes home.
Mm-hmm.
And then we see they're watching TV, and we see that, hey, a couple of new Edison inventions were found, and it's back at the museum, and it's like, there's a six-legged non-tippable chair and this electric hammer, because Homer forgot his electric hammer, left it at the Edison Museum, and the news is talking about how, like, this is an amazing invention that everyone wants, and the already extremely wealthy Edison estate is going to make millions more. And Homer is clearly upset, and the family's like, are you okay? And he says, at least I'm sitting in the right chair. And he's in the toilet recliner, and then the credits roll.
No sense. One of the worst jokes we've seen. Like,
if you're angry, do you shit?
Yeah.
Is that how? I guess everyone does it differently, but I don't find myself rage dumping
just
anymore.
A bad joke. Man.
It's a lazy one. Yep. It's a rough joke.
We need a joke right here. We can't think of anything. Let's keep this obviously flawed joke that doesn't work because we're on a deadline, I guess. Ugh, yeah. Come on, Simpsons.
Yeah, that was just have him looking mad and growling with his teeth bared back like he's mad, and then go to credits. That's a better joke.
Possibly the weakest of this bunch, I would say. I don't know.
For me, it's the next one, but it's a close second.
Interesting. I was going to say, at least laugh wise, I think I laugh more at this one. I
got maybe maybe I got more out of it than you did, but I got a huge amount of laugh mileage out of the makeup gun.
I think you did. I enjoyed it, but I think you got a bigger kick out of it than I did.
Holy shit. I was howling. I watched that probably 3 times.
Yeah.
Like that was much like the last episode. A little shirtless Willie goes a long way. That makeup gun really kicked. Yeah, that we were grading on a curve after that, baby.
I think for me, I think it was I think this episode, while not good, I think laugh wise this might have been tops, but yeah, it wasn't the best story. But hey, why do I need to tell it when I can describe it with my words? We're up to episode 3, Bart the Mother, and we get a Bart the Noun episode, which we haven't. That was the naming convention early on. 2/3 of the episodes in season 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing that I love another thing I had completely forgotten about, just like shopping for school supplies, was the Who's Who book scams, which I didn't realize they were a scam until I heard them talking about it. Do you remember the Who's Who?
Not a clue. I don't remember that at all.
Thing. People were like, if it would be mentioned in our local newspaper, because we're all fucking rubes. So and so, son of so and so, was in this year's Who's Who catalog, and it warms my heart to know this was just a scam people pulled so you can make you feel better about yourself about your dopey fucking kids. That's amazing.
Was it just what it is in The Simpsons? Just you send us money and we'll put your kid's name in this book?
I didn't know that, but I've even, it's a Wikipedia page dedicated to the Who's Who scam. Yeah, like it was like and my hometown made it seem like it was a prestigious thing. Like they would be every year in the newspaper. It would be list who was in the Who's Who. Like, fuck, that's great. It was always like, it would just like, it would say like, due to education and civic leadership, it's like, okay, this is fucking like, it's all the fucking goody kids or the fucking achiever kids are in the Who's Who. And all it was a way to fucking sap some money out of some fucking parents. Oh.
Am I correct in assuming then that you did not make the Who's Who?
No, not a bit. So at least there must have been some criteria. Like, that seems like something my mom would have enjoyed.
They had some standards.
Yeah.
No, I didn't have a clue about this joke, but I mean, I got the joke, but I didn't, I wasn't like, oh yeah, I remember that.
So Marge also falls for it. So they end up going to an arcade later on, and there's a lot of good arcade type, like, and we're at a go-kart track, which, have they ever made a Simpsons Mario Kart style game? I don't know that there's a kart racer. There's Simpsons Hit and Run, which was kind of a Crazy Taxi Crazy
clone.
Taxi was my thing, yeah. But you would think there's a big enough like universe to take characters from. A Simpson Mario Kart style game would do all right.
There's got to be. I feel like they were pumping that shit out. Like, that seems like something that would have been on the N64 or the PlayStation 1.
Yep. Oh, yep. Very good call. Like, do you think it's going to be amazing when, like, eventually they're going to make a game for, like, the PS5 when, they're cranking out games, or, like, the newest Xbox whenever that comes out. That means, like, the Simpsons have been on, like, 7 different generations of video game consoles. Because they were on the NES. Oof. I remember renting one of their NES games all the time. Like,
oh yeah, I played Bart versus the Space Mutants on the NES. That game was like a side-scrolling beat 'em up a la Ninja Turtles or the Avengers, but that game was fucking impossible.
Yeah,
that was I maintain that was an unbeatable fucking video game.
God, yeah, the Simpsons games really ran the gamut. They were either shit or there was the arcade one was so much fun. Like that mid to late 90s arcade game that you could play 4 at a time was a blast.
Yeah. We never had I don't think I've ever seen one of those in person.
There is one at the barcade thing in Fargo here.
Oh, I might have to.
It is a legit blast. Yep. One of the last great 1/4 games. It was right around the time a lot of the games were switching to 2 quarters or 2 tokens. Pretty sure Simpsons, at least where I was playing it, Aladdin's Castle, shout out to the mall in Minot, North Dakota. It was still a 1 token game and played the shit out of it. So we get a lot of fun. I thought what was adorable was they were playing skee ball and Lisa really ramped it hard and Maggie caught it and dunked it. It was a Maggie oop. And the fact that Maggie gave like finger guns to Lisa after completing the alley-oop was nice.
Yeah, I figured that would get your biological clock wound up like it always does.
Goddamn baby.
I mean, maybe don't say it like that, and your chances will improve.
Goddamn baby.
I just envisioned you. My brain just came up with two scenarios. One of you saying that to a woman in a bar, and one of you saying that at an adoption agency.
Me in a baby blue tuxedo on a first date with some crumpled up flowers and a clenched fist. These are for you. I need a baby.
Give me a goddamn baby.
It's not hard. People have been having babies like forever. Just want one. I don't need a bunch.
I think I prefer this scenario. Yeah. Like if we wrote these into two different comedy sketches, I think I prefer the scenario of you at the adoption agency. Yeah.
It's like
there's some middle-aged woman in a pantsuit just like, sir, we're going to call the authorities if you don't I just want a goddamn baby.
Showing up with a stroller because I assume they just give you a baby, right?
Yeah, you assume that this is a one-day thing. You just go, it's like shopping for anything else.
So where do I get to look at the babies at? Like, just like you're thinking that's right there, like...
Like in your mind, it's like going to the pet adoption where they have them all in cages in the back. You just go pick one out, you play with it a little bit, and then you go home with it. Like, what's the issue?
I need to just plow through the front door on a mountain bike with one of those baby things on the back, like assuming they'll just strap it in. I'll high five somebody, maybe sign a couple documents, and be on my way.
Yeah, barely have to stop pedaling.
Yeah.
I can do all this without putting the kickstand down, right? Just strap one in. Which one do you want? Whichever one fits.
Another good gag that I think every child can remember is the unfair amount of tickets you needed at an arcade to get anything of value.
Yeah.
At the arcade in Minot, they weren't even making fun of you. On the lowest tier of prizes was a Jolly Rancher. Like an individual...
One singular
Jolly Rancher was on the list of prizes you could choose from. How depressing is that? That's one wrap. Like it's the Depression. Like it's just like one penny candy. Like there you go, shit for brains. Eat up.
And we only have green apple. Yeah. Get the fuck out of here.
Which I do like. I'm a big Jolly Rancher guy.
I like grape, and that's about it.
Really? I like watermelon. I am a big proponent of the Jolly Rancher Company. Well done. Keep up the good work, Jolly Rancher.
I feel like if I'm going hard candy, I'm usually going minty as opposed to fruity.
Oh, fascinating.
Like, give me them fucking red and white pinwheel discs that you get at Denny's when you're paying. Yeah. Like, I'm a happy boy.
I don't mind a Werther's. I don't mind a butterscotch disc.
It's fine. Yeah,
it's more of a nostalgic
ain't going out of my way
candy.
for it.
Oh, goodness, no, yeah.
As we've mentioned before on this show, I loved seeing this entire thing because before the Row would occasionally go to Chuck E. Cheese with a friend of mine and play skee ball and give tickets to some kid
and make their day.
Like, God damn it, do I love skee ball? And now I'm over a year of being out of shape, out of practice. Yeah, I don't even know if I got it anymore, Daddy.
Are you right-handed or are you going goofy-footed?
I'm right-handed, like a normal person.
Well, yeah, I'm coming in there all unorthodox. I'm throwing off everything with my lefty release.
Goofy foot. It's a great Tony Hawk reference. As soon as I saw Lisa holding the ball, long before she even threw it, I was like, oh, God damn it. God damn it, do I miss skee ball.
God, yeah, I can count on one hand how many times I've played skee ball or whack-a-mole. I've always just been drawn to the arcade games and pinball.
Yeah, I adore pinball over all of them, but like that also, I'm like, I feel myself slipping on my pinball and skills.
Pinball is a skill that erodes with time away from the game.
Yeah, that is, your pinball muscles will atrophy if you don't keep them up. Plus, your reflexes and your hand-eye coordination go to shit as you get older. So,
oh man,
pinball's a young man's game.
This has never came up before, but one of the open mics last winter in the cities, or 2 winters ago, whatever, 8 years ago, when did fucking COVID start? Whatever, like the last real winter, there was a brewery that had a pretty big open mic that had a very good selection of new kick-ass pinball games, and 2 of them had a malfunction in them that it would read $1 as $10. So you could play for 2 hours off a buck, and it was the shit. I can't remember what the game was, but it was a more modern pinball game, and I got really good at it because it was one of those mics you can never get on the list for, or you get on once every 5 times. It's like, fuck it. I don't even know if I'm going to bother signing up. I'm really kicking ass on the first ball here, you know?
Boy, I bet whatever comics are on stage really appreciate you standing in the back playing pinball.
That's kind of a whole separate thing.
Oh, okay. In my head,
it's right there.
10 feet from the stage. Like, just lights and sound going off.
Yeah, like I could hand them a drink and still play. I got just a left flipper going. I can hand it with my right. Here we go. Hey, seamless handoff.
Multi-ball. All right. You're just shouting to yourself.
Oh, when you hear that loud clack, which means you got that extra life.
The free game. Yeah. The clunk.
There we go.
Yeah. That's what that clunk is designed to do, by the way, is draw attention to the rest of the arcade.
Interesting.
To be like, hey, this guy got an extra life.
Yeah, it's look at me learning shit. That makes sense because it is a very unique sound compared to the other sounds that a game makes.
There was a time, let's call it less than 12 months ago, where I came real close to buying a pinball table.
Yes. You eating meals off a pinball table because there's not enough room in your apartment for both that or a kitchen table.
I'm going to tell you, the size of the apartment is the only reason I don't own a pinball table. I'd have fucking bought one of them.
There we go.
Because there's a couple companies now making new pinball tables. Stern and Jersey Jack. And I think it's Stern made a Ninja Turtles one that is apparently fucking rad. And Ninja Turtles is my shit. That's my brand. So... Came real close to dropping about $6,500 on a pinball table.
I wish that could have happened. You need to embrace your full Tom Hanks in the movie Big lifestyle. Not saying no to anything your id asks, like when it comes to purchases.
Yep, just rolling with it.
So Nelson has also been in the arcade the whole time during this, and Nelson has figured out a way to scam, of course, to get as many tickets as possible. And he gets a BB gun, which just has to be the top of the arcade mountain. I can't imagine what's above that. I think it's that or an easy bake oven. He's like, I do love baked goods, or I love warm food.
I like that you put it as he's come up with a scam. He just opens the machine with a screwdriver.
You're
just
right.
Jams it in and breaks the lid off.
There's no subtlety to it. This isn't a confidence scheme.
Yeah, this wasn't Joker wanted to get arrested. This was just break it open with a fucking screwdriver.
And Bart is obviously, because he's a juvenile delinquent in training, he loves the idea of a BB gun, so he wants to play with it. And Nelson's kind of actually like whatever, which is more, usually he gets violence from he's usually scared of Nelson, but sometimes you got to twist the storyline to make it work a little bit. So Nelson's kind of like, whatever. It's always good to have another set of fingerprints on the gun, so now Bart's like, oh, fuck yeah, this is it. And there had been a run-in between Marge and Nelson on the go-kart track. So Marge, probably already not too keen on Nelson, is now certainly anti-Nelson. And she's like, you do not hang out with that boy. That boy is trouble. Which, fast forward 4 hours, they're bored in Bart's bedroom. Because what did they win? For their prizes, Lisa got a mustache comb. No, Bart got a mustache comb. Lisa got a fake mustache.
Yeah.
So he's like, no, this is done. This place sucks. I'm gonna leave. And like, well, Mom told you not to. And Bart's like, I don't care what Mom says. And then he panics because he gets covered in inchworms, which I'm not sure what inchworms are.
Yeah, me neither. But some manner of worm you get climbing trees, I guess.
And I have learned that I love any glimpse into Nelson's home life. Like there's that knife tied to a string that's tacked to the wall to carve notes in.
Yep, above the phone.
Yeah, which is great.
That's how they take messages in that house.
Yeah, there's Dad's shooting car. 2 more payments and it's all ours.
And it's like a cool old hot rod. It's like a Camaro.
I was thinking like a late
or a
70s, early
Trans-Am.
80s Camaro or TA.
Yeah. And they just shoot it for fun. I love before they go outside that Nelson throws on a scarf real dramatically and is like, aren't you going to wear, like, go outside, aren't you going to wear a scarf?
Yeah,
and he's like, no. Bart's like, no, why would I wear a scarf?
Well, it's your health. I like the little weirdness you get with Nelson's like enjoyment of huckleberries. We got that in an earlier episode too. Like
we got that too.
So
I like the very seldom seen soft sides of Nelson.
Oh, his love of Moon River by Andy Williams too. Yeah.
Yep, that Andy Williams
I
bit.
didn't think he'd sing it, then he did. So while they're shooting at Bart finally gets a chance with the BB gun, but that's when Nelson notices there's a bird in the tree, and he's like, "Well, you gotta shoot that bird." And he kind of teases him and pokes fun. I'm Bart. I'm gonna marry Nelson, or I'm gonna marry Milhouse. I walk like this.
Yeah, he's bagging on Bart.
Bart has to face a choice most kids do at some point if they're around a BB gun. Are you gonna kill animals with it? Because I remember that. Like I was never, even as a kid, I never liked shooting birds. But meanwhile, I shot countless, dozens and dozens of gophers. That's what I was told to do as a kid, because gophers were a menace that were killing.
They're a nuisance animal.
Killing all of our trees and destroying the yard. So Bart is heartbroken that he succumbs to peer pressure. He tries to miss, but he ends up hitting the bird and killing it. Right around the time Marge has found out that Bart has directly disobeyed her and is over at Nelson's house, so she pulls up in the car. And I laugh so hard when she pulls up very angry, says, "Get in here!" And Nelson's like, "All right, finally a real home." Holy, I laugh.
Not you.
Yeah, I fucking laugh so hard at that. And then Bart tries to hide it, but then Marge sees that he killed the bird, and she's just kind of done with him. You know what? You do what you gotta do. And she leaves.
Marge is giving up.
Yeah, she leaves. Just leaves him there. And like Bart is super sad. He's gonna go back in and hang out with Nelson. He sees Nelson flipping that carrot in a frying pan, which God, that cracked me up. So then he's just sad. But then he notices that the bird nest has eggs in it. So he's like, "Oh, great! I killed a mom, that has babies." So he's like, "No, I'm taking these eggs. I'm gonna raise them as my own." And that's kind of the next probably 5 minutes of the episode is him trying different ways to keep those eggs alive. He's like, he does some reading in the library. He figures out I got to keep them warm and this and that. He sets up like a makeshift, I'm trying to think of the name for a device that artificially keeps eggs, like an incubator.
Yeah.
And he's running extension cords. When Marge pokes her head out, like, my best gray extension cord. Like, she have like an extension cord she only uses for company. So that was
I can see it though, being 35 years old. I have a favorite extension cord of all my it's like I have a favorite spatula too. Yeah. This is just something that comes with adulthood.
Just something to help kind of like quiet the screaming that's inside of all of our heads.
Yep. You get the right spatula and you're like, you know what? Today's going to be all right. Yeah, we're going to cook these eggs and we're going to be okay.
Hurtling endlessly towards the void. But by God, this spatula feels good in my hand.
Oh, I really wanted a Bloody Mary and my favorite glass is clean. So here we go.
So Marge,
sentimental attachments to everyday goods.
I've had that my whole life.
Part of getting old.
Having to throw a pillow away and being sad.
You have.
Yep. Ugh. And Marge is like, enough's enough. This kid's a goddamn animal. I'm gonna set him straight. She goes up into the tree house. It turns out that she finds, he's trying to keep those eggs alive. They have a little moment. And Marge is, I'm going to help you with this. And they keep those eggs nice, toasty, warm by keeping them on pies, which I thought was nice.
And as one cools off, they give it to Homer and bring in a fresh pie out of the oven.
One gag that kept coming up in this was Homer going down the basement steps with no lights. And it's a simple gag, but I laughed each time. Like just him not learning, like not realizing he should have just barreled down those steps because the light's out. He's carrying those bowling balls.
Yeah. It for sure happens the first time. I don't know if it happens the next 4 times they pull that gag, but he's like whistling, opens the door, screams and crashes down the stairs, and then continues whistling, and you hear footsteps again.
I think that's just the first time, yeah.
That cracked me up that very first time.
Same here, yeah.
He's got no lights in the basement stairwell because that's where Bart got the incubator light bulb from.
The eggs hatch, and to their surprise, they are not birds. They are very aggressive lizards.
Which is a real shock to everyone.
As it should be. So they take the lizards to an ornithological, if I'm pronouncing that right, society meeting. It's a great collection of fucking people there. What's his name? The old guy with the beard. Because he finally sees a pigeon, and that's what the last bird.
That's the one.
Completed his list. But I like when they bring the lizards there, and Skinner, who's running the meeting, sees them, and he's like, these are Bolivian, nest raptors or whatever they are. And they are a nuisance species that eats all the bird eggs. And how quickly he grabs the lizards and puts them on a paper cutter board and is about to lop their heads off. How matter of fact he's about to do that.
Just I'm going to handle this right now, and you guys can take off.
So great. Yeah, I'll just right here, right now, we'll take care of that. So that's
my favorite bit of that was A, his nonchalance at that act, and B, the look of indifference on the lizard's face when they're laying on that paper cutter.
Very good point. Yeah, they are not really worried.
Just deadpan. Yeah, just
whatever. Yeah. So Bart, of course, doesn't want this to happen because he's now attached to these lizards. He's raising them as eggs. And Marge goes against character and decides to buck the system. Because right away she's like, we got to do it. It's the law. She's like, the federal government has mandated these animals as a danger or something like that. But she sees Bart is super attached. She's like, you make a run for it. I'll slow him down. And slows him down in perfect Marge fashion by just standing in the door. Like, Marge, please, you're blocking us. Am I? I'm blocking?
Am I?
I'm so sorry. I think it's Krabappel's fault. Just push her out of the way. She just plows right through.
Yeah, Marge being like, am I in the way?
Yeah. So they think they have Bart trapped on the roof of the building, but the lizards fall off the roof. But turns out they have some kind of gliding, some kind of skin flap between their limbs that allows them to fly almost like a flying squirrel. And they coast to the ground safely, and they run to the trees where they can begin propagating their species and destroying all of the aviary life in the area. Which turns out gets Bart a goddamn medal because they've been eating all the pigeons, which are flying rats. Which anyone that lives in a big city will tell
disease
you.
bags.
I think the closest we get are seagulls. I always thought of seagulls as giant flying rats.
Anytime I see a seagull, which is pretty fucking rare, I'm like, how lost are you dumb shit bird? You could not be further from a sea than North Dakota.
They're thick around lakes because they're a species that can thrive with little just they give them a little splash of water. One bird bath can support 10,000 seagulls somehow.
Yep, they just need a puddle and a pile of garbage.
Yeah, they would. So. Yeah, and they are piles of garbage. They're garbage machines. They just shit all over everything.
Yeah, from what I understand, pigeons are the same way. We don't, like you said, we don't really have pigeons here.
Yeah, and I'm forgetting some of them too, but I had a lot of. I mean, the episode didn't do a whole lot for me, but I had a lot of good laughs in this episode, which I'll take it at this point. And
yeah,
because that's basically the end, right? Because
yeah, pretty much. Like Bart gets that medal because he introduced the lizards, or at least didn't stop the lizards, and they've decimated the fucking pigeon population. And then you get Lisa talking to Mr. Skinner of like, well, yeah, but won't we then just be up to our tits in lizards? And he's like, well, yeah, but then we'll release the such and such snakes. And then and it's the Australian rabbit problem of like, well, yeah, but then how are we going to get rid of? And Skinner just keeps explaining it all away by, then we'll introduce this other invasive species, and that's his plan.
The
and that's
final
kind of
one's
the
a
end of the
gorilla
episode.
of some kind. Yeah.
Yep. Well, how will we get rid of the gorillas when we're just overrun by gorillas? Well, in the winter, they'll all freeze to death. And he just real happily walks away.
He said that. They'll just freeze to death in the winter. Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and then Lisa's face is just like, oh, God.
I forgot about that. Yeah, that was one of the best laughs I had this whole episode. Yeah, like how they had a contingency plan for everything.
Yep. It's a real like woman who swallowed a fly thing going. That's his plan. But yeah, that wraps up that episode. That episode also earlier when Bart's at the library learning about birds and eggs, he watches a newsreel of Troy McClure explaining about birds and eggs, and that is the final appearance of Phil Hartman on The Simpsons.
I knew it was coming up this season. Yeah, good catch.
Yeah, that is his last appearance before his death in. I don't know if it was 98 or 97.
It had been 98, I think. I remember, pretty sure I was driving to go play paintball. That was like the spring of 98 when that was announced. I remember I had to break it to my friends. Like, I just heard on the radio that Phil Hartman's dead.
So that's...
What an end of an era. What a run. And there was another great laugh in that video where he's standing by that tree branch and talking about the blue jay, like a few, like protect their young as courageously, and he puts that mongoose and some other animal, a badger,
yeah,
very confused. He sets him on that branch, and that blue jay immediately goes at him. Like the mongoose and badger are no match for the blue jay, but you know what it is? Steel tongs, and he grabs that blue jay with those
picks
tongs.
Up that bird and moves it,
just casually holding that blue jay with those giant tongs.
Yeah,
just so you can look at the eggs. It's like it will regurgitate food. That's like Billy's like, gross. It sure is, Billy.
It sure is, Billy.
Cut. It's done.
That's a huge bummer. I will miss Troy McClure on this show.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine they would, but I don't know if they keep Troy McClure but recast his voice, or if they're just done with Troy McClure. I can't imagine.
I want to see if it happens. I'll let that news come to me. Yeah.
I don't want to look it up. I don't want to know until they deal with it, if they do.
So Lionel Hutz and Troy McClure, is there another major character he plays, or I think those are the two?
I think he played a lot of like real small bits or one-time characters, because like he's also the shyster that sells Springfield the monorail.
Yeah, very good.
But like that character's only there one time.
Yeah, he's basically Lionel Hutz with a different haircut. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I think Lionel Hutz and Troy McClure are his only two like mainstays of Springfield. That sounds right. So, but yeah, I'm curious to see if they ever address it outside of like a dedication during the credits, because I'm sure that's got to happen.
You would think, yeah.
Unless it already did. Maybe it happened in this episode and I missed it.
Yeah, because I rarely watch to the end, yeah.
But I would assume they would make a bigger deal out of it. But I am curious to see do you recast them? Do you just write both of those characters off? Do we never see Troy McClure or Lionel Hutz again? Yeah. I don't know. And I don't want to know, much like you said, I don't want to know. I want to find out.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but yeah, that's a downer. What a note to end on. Remember when Phil Hartman was murdered?
Nothing like a murder-suicide to end on a joyous note.
Yeah. Anyway, enjoy your week.
Yeah. Enjoy college basketball if that's your thing.
Yeah, chin up out there, everybody. Anything going on in your life over there?
Well, I'm officially tits deep in George Soros's jisms, a.k.a. the Pfizer vaccine. So I... very full of nanobots, which is if anyone wants to meet with me at a college bar and do body shots off me, I can let you know. First off, my navel holds 4.5 shot glasses worth of schnapps, so bottoms up.
No, don't do them out of the bottom. Don't flip you over and do bottoms ups.
Oh, do that old Arkansas rainbow, that waterfall. It's like a good wine. There's so many different notes you're getting. Oh boy, that's some kind of diabetes source seepage I'm getting there. That's very salty.
Getting cherry and alfalfa. You really did fall in hay earlier. Yeah. That is notes of sod and actual sod.
Yeah, this is. I can see the grit in the glass.
Come on down, get a shotgun yourself a mouthful of Nathan's night mud.
Nathan's night mud. Holy shit! That's if I ever start making my own wine, choke cherry wine that's black as night. Nathan's night mud.
Next week we have a real treat. Next week we kick off with Treehouse of Horror, which is always fun, and that'll be our first episode out the gate next week. Next week's batch of episodes, Season 10, which is weird to say, Season 10, episodes 4 through 8 is your homework. We have we're all up in those social medias. We have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all at Barley Basket USA. Email us, barleybasketUSA@gmail.com. If you know where we can find the entire series of Babes, let us know at that email, please. Yeah, we can find a couple here and there on YouTube and a couple clips, but boy howdy do I want to see the whole thing. So let us know if you know the answer to that one. 4 through 8 next week, Nathan. We will see you then.
Bye, everybody.